colour, and I think it's a great occasion.
And it couldn't have been set up nicer, could it, for a Wigan Saints game, given what's happening at the top of the table and where you're at in the season?
Yeah, there's a couple of big games. Obviously ours, and ours a very important game for the competition and for where both teams sit at the moment. And obviously both teams want to try and get on top there. So it's going to be a great game of footy. You've got the game here at the moment, which is obviously a important one, and a couple of other derbies too. So if you're a footy fan, I think it's a great weekend.
You win today, you go 4 points clear of Wigan. You lose, they're level with you. How important a factor is that in your mind?
Well, look, obviously we'd like to win. We're here to win, and you like that little bit of comfort and knowing that you're sitting quite comfortable, I suppose, going into the back end of the year. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of footy to be played, and we know that we want to be playing our best footy at the end of the year, and we want to play well today, no doubt about that. But it's not the most important thing in the world.
And how do you feel your team is going at this stage?
I've been really happy with how we're going. We've had what I'd probably say is the most disrupted year that I've ever seen, not just here but in the past as well, just chopping and changing and little niggly injuries. And I went through a period 7 or 8 weeks ago where it seemed to be all of our forwards that had 2 or 3 or 4 weeks off, and we couldn't quite get them going together, and now it seems to be our backs. So it's disruptive, but to still be sitting at the top of the table, still be playing some good footy, and even the games that we have lost, been right in the contest to losing by 2 points, I've been really happy with that.
Well, there you go, Christian Wolf, really happy with the way his team's going, really looking forward to this occasion, and as you can sense by the atmosphere, the crowd in here, really looking forward to this occasion as well. Wigan against St Helens, 1 against 2 at the top end of the Super League table. But there's been another wicket at the cricket for Henry Moran. Henry.
England in trouble at 27 for 3, chasing 171. The latest wicket, Liam Livingstone bowled by a beauty from Jasprit Bumrah, past the inside edge, clipping the top of middle stump. England in a spot of bother, 27 for 3.
Well, Brian Noble, you've coached at Magic Weekend, you've coached Wigan Warriors as well. I mean, this feels really electrifying at the moment, doesn't it?
I was just saying to Paul just off air there about the atmosphere here today. It's fabulous. It's probably the best day one atmosphere I've experienced here, and maybe that's the catalogue of games we've got. The Wakefield Toulouse one has got something riding on it. This has clearly got something riding on it to squash the table from the top down, and then who wouldn't want to see Cass and Leeds at the back end of the evening? They're going to bash the hell out of each other. So I think it's the atmosphere. I really like coming here. I think rugby league people like coming here. And that's reflected in the bubble and the noise and the energy that we're feeling from this crowd.
And Paul, your side's playing here tomorrow against Huddersfield. Big game in context of you trying to get in the top 6 and Huddersfield trying to strengthen their claims for maybe a top 2 spot as well. How much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it as a club. We're all really excited. We're on a totally different journey than Huddersfield are. Obviously, we're building, and it's my first year in charge of Salford. Huddersfield a little bit different. They had the bedding in last year, and this year's a totally different story for them. So we're on a good run, and we'd like to continue that. So we're all about performance tomorrow and see where that gets us. But we're certainly meeting it head on and looking forward to the day and the event and the challenge.
And I feel an extra tingle here this year, and I think a lot of people are sharing that in the World Cup. The Rugby League World Cup starts on October the 15th at this stadium.
Well, England-Samoa, isn't it?
Samoa, yeah. At this stadium, and it's less than 100 days away now.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
It's got a real sense that it's on its way now, hasn't
Absolutely, because I watched Samoa in the international test last week, and they've got 6 or 7 Penrith players to put into that. That's going to be one home dinger. England needs to be really, really ready for that game tournament opener.
Yeah, and you played in a World Cup opener, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Just a few years ago.
2000.
22 years ago.
Oh dear.
22 years ago. But that was at Twickenham, wasn't it?
Yeah, wonderful experience. And as a player, Nobby will testify to this, there's nothing better. Obviously, there's the biggest thing you can do as a player is represent your country, and we've got a Super League full of players wanting to represent the country, and they're going to have to be, I think as Nobby points out, more than anything, physically ready for the challenge, because it is going to be a huge physical challenge, a tournament full of collisions, and blood will be spilt, and there'll be a lot of pride and passion on show. So it's going to be absolutely explosive and electric and super exciting.
And a unique event as well, in that the men's, the women's and the wheelchair competitions all being played at the same time and all being treated on the same level. With that roar in the background, you probably sussed that both teams have come out neither of them. It is a tradition of Magic, isn't it, that teams wear different kits to what we're normally used to seeing them in. I know Leeds later on, of course, you might have seen it on BBC Breakfast earlier today, will be wearing the special Rob Burrow kit that his two daughters have designed, and they will be bringing that kit on the Leeds team out a little bit later as well. But St Helens here in a sky blue, what do you call that, sky blue, and Wigan in the pink, and they're now just observing the RFL's Tackle It campaign, 13 seconds, when Rugby League unites, stands, kneels, applauds, whatever. The fact that the game is very much against discrimination, racial discrimination, and discrimination of all kinds. We're about to get this underway. Wow.
Powder blue.
This feels powder blue, is it not sky
powder blue?
Powder blue, yeah.
I'm going
All things, and I'm thinking Wigan are in
Cerise.
shocking pink.
Shocking pink. That's a description, is it? Not a condemnation.
No, absolutely not. No.
Well, they're different, and we can tell them apart. So that's, that's good enough.
Yeah, there's no contrast here. Well, I mean, there is a contrast, rather. Total contrast. About to get underway. Game 2 of the Magic Weekend. Game 1 won by Toulouse. That sets things up at the bottom. Game 2, Wigan against St Helens, will help set things up at the top. It is Wigan who kick off, St Helens who have first touch of the ball, and Conrad Hurrell, who could very well be powering his way through for the Tongan international side at the end of this season with that first carry. And the ooze from Paul Rowley tell you that it's a very bruising start to this game.
Yeah, it was Conrad Hurrell with the first hit up. Now Conrad Hurrell's caused Wigan lots of trouble in the previous 2 games there and doing a job on Jake Bibby, so they'll want to make the mark early. Jake will want to get stuck into Conrad and show him no respect and give him no space, because the one thing you don't want to give him is space, because he's quite destructive.
We'll take you through the lineups in just a second, but here comes Lomax moving it over to that right hand side, and this is Hurrell now, who steps in off his right foot, but Wigan have got 1, 2, 3 defenders over there to marshal his every move and put him down on that halfway line. And there's a joining of limbs which just impedes Hurrell from getting up, but he does. The kick is up in the air. It's going to come down safely from Wigan's point of view into the hands of Jay Field, who's an exciting runner, given half a chance, but he's not given half a chance. And Wigan, they've lost the ball. The ball carried forward by Leon Marshall. He's spilt it. St Helens get it back straight away, and they're launching an attack straight away here. What an opportunity. Benison held up 22 metres away. So St Helens with the attack. Lomax to this left-hand side. Wellesby now cuts back towards the middle, throws the ball in, and at speed is Sirinan coming in, flying in, dragged down on the 10-metre mark. Gets up and plays it. Roby at dummy half to his inside, and Parsi will drive in. Held up just 5 yards away. Loops the ball away in the offload. It's fed on to Matty Lees from Roby, but Lees is surrounded by Wigan defenders who swamp in there and put him down. Roby underneath the sticks, looking right and left, spins it left to Lomax. Lomax to Wellesby. Wellesby with a long pass out. Regan Grace puts the foot in touch as the defence comes across. They put him out of play. It's high fives all around from the Wigan defenders, but the referee's given a penalty for St Helens because Wigan were offside. So they were congratulating themselves. They've got some defending to do again here now.
Yeah, I think Willie Isa took a punt there and jumped the line because he had to stop the pass play towards the outside into French. So Saints with 6-1 on the line.
Here comes Sirinan with that first drive. 5 metres away from the line. Roby again bends his back, spins the ball out to Lomax. Lomax double pump to Lees. Lees driving through, almost drags that frame of his through a couple of defenders. He's only 5 metres out from the Wigan line. Roby goes right again, and now it's with Lomax. Lomax with the dummy. Farrell's got him, took him round the shoulders, rolled him to the ground. Still 3 or 4 tackles left in this set. St Helens right on the line. Roby's put a kick in. It rattles against Wigan feet. It's dropped on that far side by Bibby. Wigan have it back. It's a rare moment of misjudgment from James Roby.
Yeah, not the best player there. They had a couple of tackles in the bank, and they'd been building up the pressure obviously with a restart from the penalty. But Nobby's right. It was Willie Isa got up ahead of the line on this right edge. I've seen him play at 2-man before, and he'll do that often. So the spaces between 3 and 2. St Helens' job is to work out how they're going to navigate that and expose that.
Well, let me take you through the team. St Helens, Will Hopper-Harty is at fullback, John Benison, Conrad Hurrell, Sienna Matortia, Regan Grace, the 3-quarters, Jack Wellesby, Johnny Lomax, the halves. Ignatius Parsi, James Roby, Matty Lees the front row, Curtis Surin and Joe Batchelor, Morgan Knowles the back row, and on the bench Joey Lussock, McCarthy Scarsbrook, Jake Wingfield and Daniel Norman. Big kick downfield. It's going to be brought back with a little bit of hopeful carry from Hopewati, who's tackled on the 30-metre mark. So Wigan, Jay Field at full-back, three-quarters Bevan French, Willie Isa, Jake Bibby and Liam Marshall, Kate Custon, Harry Smith the halves. Front row, Brad Singleton, Sam Powell and Liam Byrne, Liam Farrell, John Bateman and Joe Sharrocks. And the bench is Morgan Smithies, Patrick Mago, Oliver Partington and Ethan Havard. We're keeping you up to date with the cricket. England against India for the wickets. Big moments, we'll get you there. Here comes St Helens on their way. Matty Lees just dragged down. Gets up and plays it. Roby goes to that right hand side. Lomax now picks up a bit of speed. He's spun to the ground. The referee belatedly will say that is a penalty. And the crowd gave that, didn't they?
Yeah, they're going up the guts here. St Helens done a couple of carries then in and around Sherrocks and Powell. Not the biggest of forwards for Wigan, but obviously tough defenders. But St Helens really taking it to him. And Lomax, what a fantastic player he is. For a running half like that to try and expose the bigger bodies of Wigan is really fantastic. He's drawn a penalty out of Wigan there just simply by running at him. Really brave carry from Lomax on that occasion.
And they've also got the Master Chief James Roby in and around the middle, who knows when to pass and when not to pass and who to get at. And so they're highlighting these slow back Wigan defenders and exposing them. And it's interesting they're exposing them without the big boy Alex Walmsley. We haven't mentioned that yet, Dave. Probably their biggest player and then one of their best players when they're in trouble isn't even on the field.
Well, it's a very pertinent point, and apologies for not picking up on that earlier, but we heard from both coaches saying, you know, this time of the year you are playing without your first team unless you're very, very lucky. Your first choice 17 because of injuries.
Tell me about it.
Well, how many do you had 19 fit for the Wakefield game?
Yeah, we're lucky this week. We've got 21, but
Denison's kicked the goal, by the way. 2-0 St Helens.
It's 2-0. I think St Helens have targeted a big start. I think if I'm going to edge Wigan anyway, I think they've got a little bit of a stronger bench than St Helens. I think they've targeted a big start. I think we're going to play the longer game here, but again, it'll be interesting to see how St Helens just handle this defence getting up real high on edges, and if it is an opportunity for them to just go, tell you what, we'll just keep turning it under and really tire this middle unit out of Wigan, so which would be different than what they've done previously against Wigan.
8 games to go after this, so a lot of rugby league to be played before the playoffs begin. Both these sides are just about certain to be in the playoffs. The likelihood is that they will be in one of the top 3 positions, possibly one of the top 2 positions, these two, but there's 2 points between them at the moment. Brian Noble, how important is this game, this singular game, in both these clubs' season, given that narrow gap at the top at the moment?
Well, singularly, both coaches will examine it and think, well, it is where it is, but the local derby aspect and the feeling between these two teams is important. Plus, both coaches will be trying out where they think they can get an advantage. I pick up on what Paul says about Wigan's bench. The challenge for Wigan today for me is to stay with St Helens, because they're not like any other team. Their processes are, you're going to cope with them all the time. They've got high quality skilled players like we're seeing at the moment. They move the ball around, so when players like Field and French going to have an opportunity with some kind of broken field, so they've got to stay with St Helens because they're very, very good at putting teams away. And
Lomax with a high kick. It's a tester for Field, but he's caught it safely enough 10 metres away from his own line. So Wigan starting from deep. No obvious threat at this stage. Let's find out news of another wicket at the cricket, Henry.
England 41 for 4 now. Harry Brook has been caught at mid-on off Yasvindra Chahal. He just smacked him down the ground for 4, but got underneath this one and it just drifted gently into the hands of the fielder. England 41 for 4 in the 7th, chasing 171.
And don't forget, on this incredible day of sport, we've got the Women's European Championship match, Netherlands against Sweden, a little bit later on as well. It's a non-stop day of action. Terrific stuff, starting with the rugby union commentary a little earlier, well, a lot earlier, and it just keeps going and going. Harry Smith with a kick from Wigan, kicks it downfield. Will Hopewati catches it safely enough, runs it back to within 5 metres of that halfway line, and that is where St Helens will start their set. So not a bad starting position to a set, especially when Conrad Hurrell can take them another 10-15 metres with a carry like that.
Yeah, them last 2 sets are a perfect example of how Saints play. Nothing special, just ran hard as anything, kicked really well, chased well, and then belted the heck out of you down at that end. And now that is the beginning of them winning the territory battle. The magic comes secondary to all of that.
Here's Parsi, drives it in, 25 metres out, directly in front of the sticks. Slowish up to his feet. Roby comes left again. Welsby, the youngster, playing in the halves at the moment, and Lomax tries to take them on. Side down, a couple of Wigan defenders across there. Last play in this set. St Helens are going down the blind side. Quick hands. It's not going to go too far, is it? It's a twist for the corner by Matortia, but he's just going to be held up. Wigan will get it back, but so close to their own line that they could hardly breathe with ball in hand here. That if you aren't going to score a try, if you have to give the ball back to the opposition, this is just about the perfect place, isn't it?
Absolutely, they were licking the lips there, St Helens, licking the lips. There's that first tackle. They've made 2 metres. The crowd are getting behind them. These are celebrated like tries, these tackles. They're immense.
Here's Bevan French trying to escape these very tight clutches that St Helens have got on Wigan at the moment. Wigan inside their own 20. Liam Byrne just pokes his nose over the 20 when he goes to ground in that latest tackle. And now there's a bit of action going forward again. Cust held up to the 30.
Well, it was a great carry from Byrne that got them on the front foot, and there should have been a little bit of a pass play down on the keep going play then, and Wigan probably missed an opportunity on the back of Byrne winning the ground against this dominant Saints middle.
5 gone for Wigan, 10 metres inside their own half. Again, they're having to kick from deep inside their own half. Harry Smith sends it up high in the air, taken by Regan Grace. Grace comes forward, but he's nailed by Bateman, and now St Helens coming down this left-hand channel again. It's at the moment with Matortia, gets up and plays it. Roby comes on again, some short-handed play, good stuff. Here comes Hopewati breaking down the middle, but he's covered by Field, who makes the tackle. And now Roby picks up 20 metres out again, and St Helens are flooding, and Welsby's kick is poor, really poor from his point of view, because it's caught safely enough by Marshall on that far side, and St Helens offer up a real opportunity there.
And it's again early in the tackle count. You know, they've thrown away 3 plays there, which is un-Saints-like. Maybe it's a game plan thing, maybe Christian Wolf has seen something that they shouldn't. It was a poor kick and execution in the end, because Hopewati had poured through the middle. Saints' back 3 are going good for them. Grace, Hopewati.
Well said there, Nobby. If we're going to getting up high on edges, they're disrupting Saints' flow in terms of attacking flow, and that's why I mentioned earlier about them going up the middle, and that's why they've kicked early. So fair credit to Wigan as well for some good defensive efforts.
St Helens 2, Wigan 0. We played 11 minutes. There's a kick downfield that is awkward for Hopewati. I think he was hoping it was going to roll out. It didn't. So when he eventually decided to pick it up, he was almost at his own corner flag, and he can only get up to the 10-metre mark. And this is the worst position St Helens have started in this game.
Yeah, this is now Wigan winning the territory. They've weathered the storm of St Helens. It was that third tackle kick that lets Wigan off the hook really, and enabled them off a strong carry-on play one to just churn up the field position and put their good kick in, and they're licking the lips now at the prospect of just keeping Saints down here in their half. So it's certainly entered the arm wrestle phase, if you like, and both testing each other out, both learning about each other's defence.
We've seen Sylvain Houlez walking past and going up to take his position. The Toulouse coach, how happy is he at the moment? His side pulled off a fantastic win today, 38-26 over Wakefield. And now in game 2, St Helens are leading Wigan 2-0 in this magic weekend at Newcastle St James's Park. Lomax with a kick downfield. I think that has stayed, from his point of view, the right side of the corner flag. It has. It bounces out of play, so Wigan will get the ball back, but only 10 metres away from their own line. If it had gone a little further, then that would have been a tap back on the 20 for Wigan, and 7 tackles to play with. Instead, they're 10 yards further back and only 6 tackles to go from here.
There's not much between them, Dave. You know, our listeners have to understand that the arm wrestle side of this game and the position side of this game, it's yet to be broken open by anybody.
There's a drain of energy, though, isn't there, in Wigan in these early stages? Because they've had to come up from deeper.
I'm not sure. They look all right to me. I think what we did see a bit of a glint there when Suranen tipped on, and it was Hopewati who just pushed in and around them middles, and I think that's where the gaps are going to be on both sides, around these tired middles. There's still a lot of heat in St James's Park here. You've got pretty much 3/4 of the pitch that's shaded now, but there's a big ray of sunshine on that far side over there where Marshall dropped the ball in set 1, so it's still hot down there, and fatigue will play its part in this game.
Singleton just chopped down by Morgan Mills. 2 Barovians, aren't they? 2 lads from South Cumbria, the South Lakes. Oh, Harry Smith's knocked on, and it's picked up by Roby, who's immediately, his instinct is to try and put St Helens back on the attack. and he runs and he's tackled 30 metres out from that Wigan line. So St Helens setting up camp once again now. Matty Lees to the 25-metre point. There's a St Helens player down injured, and the doctor's on the field, and as soon as the doctor comes on the field,
yes, Matautia who's gone down there. He's been down now for a few tackles, but yeah, so they wouldn't want to lose him. Obviously, he's a makeshift centre, if you like. Ice is his opposite, so they've got two back rowers in the centres here as well. So both capable, I might add.
There's going to be a green card for Sione Matautia. Now this is not something we see every day of the week. I think we've only seen about 3 this season, but basically if the referee thinks that the game's been stopped and the player wasn't as badly injured as he might have been trying to let on, he can produce a green card, and the player has to come off for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He has to stand on the sideline now for 2 minutes. His team are down to 12 men, so it's a punishment. It's to stop players, because it was creeping into the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, because if a doctor comes on, you've got to stop the game, so it stops the flow of the game. However, Saints wouldn't have wanted to stop it because they've got the ball in hand, so it's kind of a bit of a backward one. But however, there's a directive went out last week, I think, that it had been used but inconsistently, so I think we'll see refs really clamping down and trying to be consistent on when and when not to use that green card.
Well, I think that helped Wigan out.
Yeah,
they were blowing a little bit around the middle.
Well, double helps out because Saints have only got 12 players on the pitch as well for 2 minutes. So, but it's still them in attack. St Helens 2, Wigan 0. 14 minutes played. St Helens are only 10 metres away. Parsi, that huge frame of his, trying to squeeze between a couple of defenders. Gets up, untangles himself. Roby comes out of dummy half. Lomax now skips on, throws it left, quick hands. He's Regan Grace, twisting and turning, and in the end there's too many Wigan bodies there. He's almost over the line, but he's never going to touch it down because of the strength of numbers from Wigan. Now it's picked up by Wellesby, back to Roby, Roby to Lomax. Lomax puts the right foot step on. He's grabbed at round the hips, but he gets the ball away. St Helens are desperately trying to keep it alive here, despite the waves of Wigan defending. Wellesby to Hurrell. Conrad Hurrell gets himself in motion and then flicks the ball away. That goes out of play. And he puts his hands on his head there, Conrad Hurrell, as if to say, why did I do that? Because Wigan will get the ball back again here.
Well, Saints need to be patient because identified again there on the right hand side that Willie Ice is going to come and go up and get in St Helens line as much as he possibly can, ahead of his line, which will create opportunities. It looked like they did the same on the other side with Jake Bibby coming up and trying to disrupt the flow of Saints going to the fringes. So Saints are going to have to work that one out, I feel, early in this game.
Tell you what was interesting, Matauchi's off the field, so they lost the left centre, got to a left post and attacked left. You usually think, well, they've done it without a player, but Wellesby's filled in, so they've created the 4 attacking players. Ooh, strong carry. It's really clever from Lomax and Wellesby there to make that extra number up and attack this left edge without the regular centre there.
People who don't know rugby league sometimes say, well, it's just all barge and push, but there's a lot of thinking goes on out there, isn't there? Oh, and there's the thinking at the moment from Joe Shorrocks is, why couldn't I catch that ball?
That's 3 now from Wigan, all in their own half. 3 unforced errors from Wigan. That's the difference probably in the team in the 2 teams at the minute. That's 3-1 in terms of forced errors. The one that unforced errors, the one that Saints made was actually 20 metres from the Wigan line. Wigan's made 3 20 metres off their own line, so they are applying pressure to themselves. They are the worst, their own worst enemy at the minute.
Yeah, this will tell.
Well, the 2 minutes off have been served by Sione Matautia, and he's coming back on as if to make a point. He's wearing a big bandage around his left leg as if to say to the referee, I was injured, you know. Anyway, he's back on. He looks to be just walking a little awkwardly, but meanwhile St Helens attacking on that right hand side, and here's Conrad Hurrell, and Hurrell pushing and barging, and he's getting very close again to that goal line, but he's just going to be held up.
He's a big thing, isn't he?
He's huge.
One in for a Conrad.
Absolutely huge. Here comes Roby, spins it away from dummy half. Wellesby offers it short. Lees crashes in, 5 metres out, just to the right of the stick. St Helens 2, Wigan 0. 17 minutes played. Lomax again, throws it left. Here is Matautia, and he's lost it in the tackle. Willie Isa grabbed him round the knees, and in that impact moment there, Matautia loses control, and again Wigan given a bit of relief because they get the ball back 10 metres from their own line.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Wigan seem to be out and about. They're losing the ball in their own half. They're hanging in there. They're making defensive plays themselves. You just watch one of those French show, that boys feel they're going to go the length of the field in a minute. The script's written, isn't it?
18 minutes in, Nobby, as well. A little bit of fatigue creeping in. So, yes, you kind of feel something's about to happen. It's a bit not eventful at the minute in terms of clean breaks, that you would say.
Oh, offside against St Helens at the scrum.
Yeah, he trapped it in the scrum. I don't like this rule. I don't like it at all, to be honest. The trapping, I don't think you should do it. It's just an ugly play, another grey area. But however, it is a rule. They've done great to do it, Wigan, and it puts them now in St Helens half, and probably going to see the first attacking opportunity for Wigan now.
This is the first time they've been in their half, isn't it?
I think it is.
Oh, they're not there yet.
No,
they're not there yet, because Liam Byrne looked as though he was going to get them there, and has been absolutely smashed by 3 oncoming St Helens defenders. And now Singleton, well, he's got there, but it is attritional at the moment because he's only about 2 metres inside that St Helens half. Oh, and they've got another set of 6 here. The referee's reset because he's seen something at the scrum, at the tackle there. He's seen an incident, so he's waved his arms around to say another set.
Yeah, they look clunky again with the ball, look a little bit unsure, not on the same page there. Harry Smith's just catch weren't clean. Doesn't look like he was overly clear on what the job was in hand there.
Still 2-0 for St Helens, but Wigan 10 metres inside the St Helens half, and here is a carry by Shorrocks. News of another wicket at the cricket in just a second, but in the meantime Wigan looking on the point of attack here. Singleton, here it comes to Cust, and now Jay Field, but he's nailed. Good effort coming in from the Tortier, who might be injured, but he's doing well. 30 metres out, Cust goes back towards the centre again. Bateman trying to burst his way through. 25 out, but there's an arrowhead of attack being launched here by Wigan. They can go right or left. Powell at dummy half. I think he's going to go left because that's where the maximum numbers are. Smith now misses a man out. Bibby puts a little kick towards the corner, but it's going to roll out of play, and it's going to be Saints who get it back. So come in, Henry Moran.
England tumbling away here, 55 for 5. David Milan, the latest to go, attempting a reverse sweep. It was a full toss. He should have got more of it. It just dropped gently into the hands of Patel, and he's gone for 19 from 25. England 55 for 5. They're chasing 171. We're in the 10th over.
St Helens 2, Wigan 0, midway through the first half here. In this second game of the Magic Weekend, if you're unfamiliar with the concept, all 6 Super League games played at this St James's Park venue in Newcastle. All the rugby league tribes come up here. They have a fantastic weekend, wonderful time. Touch wood, very rarely any trouble, even though there's a mixing of 12 sets of supporters. We've seen one wonderful game already, Wakefield 26, Toulouse 38. We're seeing one of the biggest games in the Super League, Wigan against St Helens here. Tomorrow we've got Hull against Hull Kingston Rovers, Warrington against Catalan, Huddersfield against Salford, and the third game here today, Leeds against Castleford. But it's St Helens in possession at the moment, looking to bring the ball out from deep inside their own half. They're going to do it via the boot of Jack Wellesby, who kicks it high downfield. Now here is a potential moment, because Jay Field catches it. Any break in that Saints defence, and he's able to make the most of it. He does get it on. He manages to pass the ball away. Marshall tries to help it on, but he puts it to ground, and it's out of play, and St Helens get it back.
They've done it. They created the scenario that they wanted. They want Field and French in the backfield, with Farrell getting back there to hand the ball on, and they created the break. Field had found the play for Farrell, and he just threw it to the sideline instead of throwing it to Marshall to go down the sidelines. This has been typical Wigan in relation to hang on. They get the ball in a decent field position, find an opportunity. That's the 4th error in their own half.
The next play was the big play, wasn't it, Nobby? Just showing a lack of patience. The almost nervous attacks, particularly Wigan. I just pointed out earlier with the Harry Smith catch. Just a little bit nervous in attack, pushing it, and lacking a little bit of patience.
So here comes St Helens. Hopewati, 10 metres inside that Wigan half. He's put to ground. Roby rolls in to dummy half again. Passy to his left hand side, comes crashing forward. Good heavens, you wouldn't want to get between him and Liam Byrne, as Byrne comes in with the right shoulder into the ribs of Passy. There's a real thud, a ground shaking moment. Now it's Matty Lees again down that middle. St Helens looking big and heavy down the middle, but I think Lees has hurt himself.
I think
he's holding his ankle.
Havard is on as well, so Wigan's made the first change. Singleton's come off, Havard's come on, just to add a little bit more energy in that middle there. So a good stint from Singleton. And you've got to say this opening 23 minutes, Neil, has been all about defence really. There's not been a lot of magic in attack there, but that's what big games generally happens. It's not the magic that wins these sort of games. It's usually a goal kick or a completion and finish and a scramble. They're not always the best looking games in the world, but you've got to admire the defence, I'm sure, today. They've both been pretty ruthless up to now.
Lees is okay. He's going to play the ball now. The game continues. Roby picks up, runs it to the left hand side. Lomax with a short pass. Here is Sirinen. Sirinen swamped by the men in pink. 3 Wigan defenders. Roby 15 out, goes right to Lomax. Lomax now with a couple of dummies, looking for Lees, who's coming on at pace, and Lees is put down 10 metres out, but 1 play to go for St Helens. Last play in the set. Lomax again now, looking Wellesby, big pass, and Bennison's crunched by Marshall's tackle, but he's got the ball back on the inside, but the referee said the tackle was complete, and so it's Wigan who get the ball back. And that was a good defensive effort. There's another Wigan player injured.
Yeah, it's Sam Powell. They've been going at Sam Powell all game. They did it in the first Wigan Saints derby this year. They went all over Sam Powell. If you remember, it's the one where he come up with the crusher at the end. He was so fatigued, and they've done it again today. They're going at him. The only exchange hooker they've got is Shorrocks, who's played hooker before, but not all that comfortable. So if they get Sam Powell off this pitch, they've really dented the fluency of Wigan's attack. So there's a clear strategy there from St Helens, and he doesn't shy away, does he, Sam? He puts his body where it hurts, and he's come off second best.
Yeah, he's a tough kid, isn't he?
23 minutes played of the first half. It's still St Helens 2, Wigan 0. I'd love to see the stats. I would imagine that the majority of the game has been played in the Wigan half, hasn't it? Not least because of those Wigan mistakes.
We've only talked about one set that Wigan have had in the opposition half, and that was 3 players they got bashed.
Yeah. Well, they're in possession at the moment. Powell is okay, at least for the time being. Just feeds it to his right hand side, and Byrne is lifted in the air by Matortia, who really got his shoulder in the right place and drove into him. He's lost the knee. He's lost the bandage as well now, Matorti. He had a big bandage, but it's gone now. He's thoroughly okay. Farrell comes running in, but that's tackle 5, and Wigan is still inside the 30, and Liam Farrell stays down, and it is a penalty. The referee says he was tackled around the head, and so it's a penalty for Wigan, and very close to the edge of the set, the end of the set. That's a huge moment from Wigan's point of view. Yeah,
they were drowning there, weren't they? Do you know what? I'm not sure there's much in it as well. Geez, I think he's won a penalty. Maybe a tickle on the nose there, but nothing much.
Penalty kick downfield, 5 down England last time we heard. Henry Moran.
6 down now, 60 for 6 as Sam Curran trudges off the field down below me. He's gone for just 2, a second wicket for Jasprit Bumrah, and England really are subsiding badly here. They're chasing 171 in the 11th over, the score 60 for 6.
Going to take something special for England to turn that around, but something special and England cricket have been synonymous phrases, haven't they, over this summer, so you never know. Wigan here attacking, rare moment of possession of the ball deep inside the St Helens half. What can they do from here? Morgan Smithies in that dummy half roll just on that occasion, but Powell is still out there and jogs across 20 metres out right in front of the sticks. Couple of tackles for Wigan to play with here. Powell goes left, Cust shapes to pass, then puts the foot down, tries to run through, but he's put down 15 metres out to the middle again here. Havard throws it back to Smith. Smith kicks towards the corner, the chase is on. Regan Grace just does enough to shield that ball out of play. It'll be a drop out underneath the sticks, and for the first time in this game, St Helens looking under the cosh. They're going to have to drop out, and there's going to be a repeat set in Wigan's favour.
Well, it's manufactured from the kick. So their final play there, that Wigan, they've rolled the ball forward. They haven't generated any ruck speed, because I'm confident they'd love to go at Saints' right hand side and maybe expose Hurrell, whether he comes forward or he doesn't. But they found an unbelievable kick. I think it was Smith that rolled the ball through, which gives them another set of 6 now to try and tire this St Helens middle out to give them some ruck speed.
Shot clock's on. They've only got 25 seconds to get the drop kick away. They do that in plenty of time, and Havard will bring it back for Wigan on the first drive, and so they set up their start to the set here, 13 metres out with 5 tackles to have a go at this line. Smithies with a pass away. Mago's on from the bench. Patrick Mago put down 22 metres out. Powell puts the arms in the air to say to the referee he's not been let up quick enough, but he is up now. And now Cust comes running around, throws it out to Bateman. Bateman stands, steps up his left. Here comes Mago. Mago swallowed up by a couple of Saints defenders, almost within 10 metres. Powell eyeballs the opposition, then picks up the ball and plays it to Cust, and Cust with a short pass, and Havard comes blasting onto that again, and it takes a lot of strength from 3 St Helens defenders to make sure he can't go all the way. Powell again spins left. Smith with a pass. Farrell now Field up in the air. It's not by Benison. Backwards it goes. Dropped on by Field, I think that is. So Wigan have it back, and it got a St Helens touch. So Wigan get another set of 6 here.
Yeah, I think they're relying on Mago to come up with an offload just to break up the play and do something a little bit different there. But I think Nobby's right. They wanted to attack left against Harrell there, and on that occasion they did. He got high again, and they nearly came up with something, but they solved it on that occasion. I think we'll see more of that now, attacking in and around 2 and 3 man for St Helens.
Here comes Mago, 8 metres out. It's another set here, another set for Wigan. The referee restarts it, and the short pass to Bateman is fumbled. Roby drops on it. Knock on, the referee says. Surely Wigan's first. And St Helens, whose defence has been magnificent throughout the year, will congratulate themselves on holding Wigan out on the back of 3 back-to-back sets.
Well, Wigan will be kicking themselves because they created the one thing they wanted, a bit of juice out of Saints' tanks on their own line. Hurrell having to go open forwards, a little fatigue around there. Mago with the offload, another Havard I think came up with an offload, and for the first time they were looking a little bit shabby in the right way, in the right manner, with the respect they deserve. But they dropped the ball on play 2. You've got to really play the percentages in respect of keeping hold of the ball down there if you want to create an opportunity.
They're not getting much ruck speed, Nobby, are they,
no.
Wigan? And I think they should be happy to just stay on the middle, because what they are getting is restarts, and they will poke the nose through. And you know what? Eventually, if they keep penalising and restarting, they'll chuck somebody in the bin, and then they'll get the space. So I just think they're lacking that little bit of patience, just chasing the edge a little bit much.
This is a fantastic atmosphere at a fantastic venue, and of course, as we've been saying earlier, we're back here on October the 15th for that opening World Cup game, England against Samoa, at the end of the year, when this place will be absolutely full to the rafters. It's a really good crowd here, actually, isn't it, today? For a Magic weekend, you know, fans come and go throughout the weekend, but just at the moment, there's a decent, very decent crowd in here. Roby from dummy half kicks out. Marshall collects it on the bounce, the Wigan winger, 20 metres from his own line, and he's put down 25 metres out. Good St Helens chase, and there's a real, it feels almost like a test match intensity to this game, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. He's gone early again, Roby, as well, so they want to just, this game's all about territory at the minute and who's going to make the mistakes, and that's what it is. It's a game built completely on defence at the minute. Neither attack is firing, you know, perfectly well as they'd like to, but defences, you've got to say, have been pretty ruthless on both sides.
Havard picks himself up. Wigan 10 metres inside St Helens territory. Harry Smith tries to pick a path through that oncoming Saints defence, but he's put down. 5 gone, this is the last. Powell, along it goes to Cust. Cust almost caught in possession, and he throws the pass, but he's nearly intercepted by Joe Batchelor, and he knocks on in trying to do that, and that is a gift for Wigan, because St Helens were going to get the ball back. Batchelor took a risk, knocked it on. Wigan get it back themselves, or at least ahead and feet at the scrum here. 25 metres out, directly in front of the sticks.
Well, it's another opportunity for Wigan.
Well, if you were playing golf, you'd say that were a good bad, and he's come up, Batchelor. He couldn't do anything really, and I felt we was getting our lines ready for saying, oh, that's poor from Wigan. They've panicked, they've not got the kick away, but they've got lucky there, to be honest, and the pressure's now on St Helens again.
Well, here's Smith, puts it back, and into the line comes Field, who throws a couple of dummies, and Regan Grace grabs him by the boots and says, nothing spectacular for you this time, Jay. And so he has to get up and play it, and Mago comes driving through, and Roby's got his arm around Mago's ball-carrying arm to make sure he can't offload. Powell throws it back, Smith into the line. This is Field with a pass away. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Bevan French scores in the corner. The J Field pass. You could see the thought process in Regan Grace. He didn't know whether to stick or twist, and French is over, and Wigan have the lead at 4 points to 2.
Yeah, well, what they did on that occasion, the start point was in the middle of the field. They went through the forwards just to hold the defence. And what Saints are good at, two things. They get up really high and aggressive on the edge, and they fold through. They come through in droves off the back to defend the extra man. But it went through so quick, and the fact that they utilised the middles to hold the shape, it just enabled that fold to get round the back. So what you got is, we all know Jai Field for his running skills, but you know, fair play to him that he's picked a beautiful cut-out pass to Bevan French, who could have easily tucked, but they've spoke about it clearly. He's held his touchline, as all great wingers should do in that occasion, and he scores in at the corner there. It's a great try from Wigan, really good.
Well, it nearly happened 3 plays earlier. They tried the exact same, a similar play, and they just couldn't find the pass play to French, couldn't field on a running type play. This time they exposed. They go, once Field gets into space, he has the ability to pass, and if you're a defender for St Helens, there's 2 of them there. Boy, good luck with that.
Well, yeah, exposes the world, isn't it? Regan Grace, absolutely. There was nothing he could do there. You know, does he tuck in and go for the inside man?
Yeah.
Does he hold out for the outside man? Does he try an interception?
The thing is, Dave, when you're playing Saints, everybody knows they're great defensively. Christian Wolf alluded to it himself without waxing lyrical about his own team. He says he's pleased with his defence. When they've lost by 2 and 4. It's been tight. So when you get an opportunity, you've got to execute. And as Nobby said, they nearly got the try set earlier. Well, that time, rugby league's about learning, and they've learned and they've nailed it. And that's the thing with St Helens. You get your opportunities, you've got to nail them, because you don't get a lot, because they're great defensively.
There's some real high quality moments in this game, haven't there? Both attack and defence.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say mainly defence. Again, I'm kind of hoping from a spectacle point of view.
Look at that kick. Look at that kick. Oh, absolutely brilliant. I think we're going back to your shot off the tee.
Good Baden. Yeah.
It looked like he'd sliced it, and it kept low, and it just climbed over the crossbar. But Harry Smith has kicked it, and Wigan leads 6-2.
It's a great kick. He's a right footer, and he's curled it in from the right, from left to right. That's special. Mark Sneed did one the other week, and people think it will look. I'm going to tell you, he's practiced hitting the bottom left corner with his left foot and curling it from right to left with his left foot. I can tell you, kickers are technicians these days, and they're so important to any winning team.
They're not technicians when they miss, especially if you're a coach.
That was Roberto Carlos-esque, that, wasn't it?
Correct.
Remember, at least 24 years ago, I think since that happened.
Must have had his Predators on.
Yeah. a lot of youngsters listening going, Roberto who?
And Predators what?
Predators what? Yeah. Anyway, Wigan 6, St Helens 2, very much in the modern day. And Wigan back in possession, 7.5 minutes to half time, but it has been knocked on by Ethan Havard, and we're back to a familiar theme here. Wigan making a handling mistake inside their own half.
Yeah, it'd be easy to say they've done it easy, but they haven't. That's the 5th error, is it, in their own half? Well, inviting Saints into their half.
You would say, Nobby, I don't know what you'd be saying. We'd be having the same speech. You're in charge of Wigan, me Saints. We're both saying, look, we're inviting trouble. Everything we've got, what's bad, is stuff we've done to ourselves. And I think both coaches will have a similar speech.
Oh, and here they go. It's Welsby on that right-hand side, slotting into the right centre's position, who's dragged down. Less than 20 metres away, but tight to the touchline. Lomax brings it back to the middle again now. It's powered forward by Wingfield. Another of those who's relatively fresh from the bench. Roby picks up and goes left. Offered back on the inside to McCarthy-Scarsbrook. And Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, in that typical fashion of his, loves to be aggressive. And there's a bit of something going on between him and Farrell. Now it comes to Welsby. Welsby tries to pop it over. Conrad Hurrell at pace, can't take the pass. The ball goes to ground. Wigan congratulating themselves again for all being in the right place at the right time to force the error. And with 6 minutes to half time, it's still St Helens 2, Wigan 6.
Well, at what point does Hurrell get one over on Bibby? Because I think in every game so far, he's definitely come out on top, and he's been the go-to guy. But this game started, there's 35 minutes gone, and Bibby's winning the battle. I think Hurrell looks the dangerous, but he's failing. He's failing on every occasion because Bibby's up in his face and he's disrupted him, and he needs to continue that for the full 80 because this won't let up.
Well, I'm going to take you back to a horrific memory, Paul. Me and you sat and watched a game without a try the other week, didn't we? Warrington against Hull. It was the dullest game of rugby league we've probably ever seen. This has only had one try so far. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
So you don't have to score tries.
But at least they're trying to score tries.
Yeah, and they're playing with some quality here as well. It is Wigan with Havard, who tries to take it forward up to the halfway line. Tattle just inside his own half, gets to his knees and up and plays the ball, and Smithies across the line, and Farrell comes cutting back in towards the middle, and he's dancing and stepping.
That's the play.
And he's just about 15 metres inside the opposition territory, but 6 tackles. So Bateman with a screw kick back on the inside. The ball bounces around awkwardly, but it's Wingfield who's got there in the end for St Helens, who have it back 10 from their own line.
Well, Wigan have grown into this game, haven't they? They're looking slightly the more dangerous team when they get the ball in the opposition half. Farrell coming back against the grain there from the outside, looking for an opportunity. Anybody latches onto him and tags onto him as an add-on, has an opportunity to go right up the middle. And Saints looking slightly fatigued at the moment, which is unusual for them.
Yeah, just brought a sub on. Dan Norman's come on as well, so but I still think Wigan should hold that middle and just keep attacking that middle of Saints there and be really patient for when they pull the trigger.
Roby comes out of dummy half. Lomax on that right hand side, switches it back towards the middle, and there is the aforementioned Dan Norman, who gets the pass away despite the attempted tackle, and then it's knocked on by Wingfield. The ball popped up to him by Will Hopewati. I'm not sure that Wingfield was expecting that. He's knocked on, and Wigan will get the head and feet at the scrum on the halfway line. 4 minutes to the break.
Yeah, like we said, Saints did target that good start, and you know what, I think we pointed out after about 23 minutes Wigan had had 1 set in the Saints half, so that's about 20 sets to Saints or either team, but in the Wigan half. So Wigan weathered that storm, and they've got the big boppers on now as well, so offloads, running plays, everything's going to happen now.
Smith puts one over the top for Bevan French on this right hand side, but only daylight ahead of him is quickly closed. The curtains drawn as the St Helens defence comes across to make the tackle. Bateman now for Wigan, pushing, and he's made about 8 metres after the initial contact, pushing his opponents back a little. Slowly gets up, plays the ball. Powell comes left now, and Smithies to Mako, and Mako gets it away. The ball is kept alive. It's a little untidy. It's going backwards though from Wigan's point of view. Jay Field now finds it with him in possession, throws out, and Isa does well to offload despite the defenders, and Field, and now back to Havard, and Havard begins striding strongly. A pass to Smith. Smith suddenly gets out of the tackle. Smith runs hard, is put down 5 metres out, and the ball is lost. The ball is lost. Smith claims it was stolen with more than 2 in the tackle. The referee's got a decision to make here. I think he's given Saints possession back. He's just standing in the manner of a man who's listening to the voices in his head. I think the touch judges might be having a word.
I think they'll look and see if there's an eye shot. It's Harry Smith who took the last pass. That was the Harlem Globetrotters right there, who just called it with the offloads. It's breaking up. There's only a couple of minutes, but it's a dangerous period now.
Well, he's given the scrum. He's given it as a knock-on by Wigan. So St Helens get the scrum, head and feet, 10 metres out from their own line. A lot of work to do. 2 minutes to go before that half-time hooter sounds. St Helens deep inside their own territory. It's all been going wrong for England today. Is there any better news? Henry Moran.
There was briefly some better news. Moeen Ali found the boundary on a number of occasions on his way to 35, but he's just chipped the ball towards mid-off and has to depart. England 94 for 7. They're chasing 1-7-1 and we're in the 15th over.
And even in this summer of England miracles and unlikeliness, it would seem highly unlikely that they're going to get out of that one, but we'll keep faith. We'll be crossing over to Henry whenever. A lot of Indian cricket fans will be listening, and will be very much enjoying what's been happening with their team in the limited overs the last couple of days. There's an offload by Norman that has been deemed as a knock-on by the referee, and Wigan congratulate themselves.
Well, Wigan are physically on top of this part of the game, Dave. They sense, they sniff this, they want this half to continue, and I think the strength of the bench, as Paul pointed out earlier in the pieces, is taking it to St Helens, and Saints are looking a little bit fatigued.
Smith is aggressive then in the tackle, weren't he? He dumped Dan Norman and he's come up with a sloppy loose carry. So last chance of the half now, 1 minute, and we're just going to enter Saints' half on the second tackle now, so last chance of the half.
Farrell puts it back on the inside for Morgan Smithies. Smithies just pushing and driving through. That's a really good strong carry, because he was on the halfway line when 3 St Helens defenders grabbed him. He's on the 40-metre line inside the opponent's half when he eventually is stopped. Smith now back inside to Bateman. In a typical fashion, he runs it back towards the centre, tries to get on the outside of Lomax, scoops the ball up as he's going to ground in the tackle. Farrell picks it up off the bounce, looks back towards the middle. Liam Farrell, he was mindful to offload, but Arms came grabbing around him, pinning his arm to his chest. 30 metres out. Up goes Powell. There's got 19 seconds to play, hence the little kick. Cuss tries to get there, the ball's gone to ground. It's still been all over the place. Kicked on again, and a touch and a dive by Powell. And I think this might be claimed as a try. Sam Powell, well, it was chaos. The ball on the ground, it was being kicked all over the place. The referee has gone to the video referee. He thinks no try on the field. And you have to say the Sam Powell body language would suggest he hasn't touched this down. But what do you reckon?
Well, I don't reckon it's a try, but I reckon there might be a penalty in there, because there was an awful lot going on in that series of plays. So there was a few pushes off the ball, there was a few bouncing balls, and that was the danger, wasn't it? Fatigue setting in, legs are getting jelly, and there's bouncing balls all over the place. So I
think there was a Wigan player tackled without the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to go, without seeing the replay, I'm going to go, I don't know where it is or what it was, but I'm going to go, there's 2 points coming somewhere to finish this half.
Well, we're having a look at the big screen, which is hanging off the rafters at the far end from us, so it's very difficult to see exactly what's going on here. Now, is there an infringement there on a Wigan player who's trying to get on it? There's a lot of St Helens players who are in an offside position, so can't get involved. Cade Cust, is he? No, that's.
Well, if anything, if it's not a penalty, not a try, it's to say it's knock on, so they will get one crack at them, Wigan anyway. But there's a lot to pick out here.
Yeah, Joe Batchelor's got his arm on that. I think it's Joe Batchelor, isn't it? And he has knocked it on, the St Helens player. Players around it, St Helens players, can't touch it because they're in an offside position. Then the ball is kind of just bouncing all over the place. I think they're having a look there to see if another St Helens player who is in an offside position touches the ball or gets involved in the play, which would be a penalty.
But it half looks like a Wigan player's kicked it, so now he's looking to see if that ball hits a Wigan player in Sam Powell, which I think it might, but the Wigan players ran him on. This is a lot of stuff, I'm telling you. There's a million different things that could happen here. What I say is get to the grounding, because it's either a penalty, a knock-on or grounding. It's got to be one of them three. However, what I will say is myself and Brian have called it that when Wigan come back against the grain, back in and around amongst that middle unit of St Helens, there's problems, and so they're not quite executing them shift plays, if you like, just quite right.
Well, they're going to the grounding, which normally suggests they're okay with everything that's gone previous. Oh no, we've only seen one angle of the grounding, so that means we're not going to have a try, I don't think. No try. I mean, that's the bold statement of fact. It's not a try, but now it's up to the referee to tell us,
the clock's ticking, what
happens next. Penalty for St Helens.
Oh wow.
Penalty for St Helens, 10 metres for their own line. The hooter sounds in the background, so we've got to go through the...
I think the referee just said somebody swore at me. I did it for dissent. I don't know what's going on here. There's not so much happened.
We got that wrong.
Yeah.
So the academics of this is that St Helens have to take this penalty, which they kick out of play.
I think he's done Sam Powell for offside somehow.
Yeah.
The Wigan player kicked the ball, and Sam was offside in front of him, which I don't agree with, but I can only think that's what's happened.
Let's see how much of an appetite St Helens have to attack here. Inside their own half with a tap. We know they're a team of flair. Wellesby puts a little kick over the top. It bounces awkwardly. Bateman catches it for Wigan. He's happy to take the tackle, and that will be the half-time. The referee blows his whistle, and well, what a fantastic first half that has been. Low scoring, but some high quality along the way. The early penalty by Benison to make it 2-0 for St Helens, and then Bevan French's finish from a wonderful J field pass on the 30th minute, converted by Harry Smith, means, Steve Crossman, that it's half-time. St Helens 2, Wigan 6.
Thank you very much, chaps. We will, of course, be back for second half commentary. Wickets continuing to fall at Edgbaston. Henry Moran.
They are. England 107 for 8, chasing 171. Horrible mix-up between Chris Jordan and David Willey sees Jordan out. He goes for just 1. And England 2 wickets away from a pretty miserable defeat. One player who is playing well, though, it's got to be said, is David Willey. He's made 21 from 16 balls and offering just a little bit of resistance. England 109 for 8 now.
Henry, thank you. We're going to pack a lot in before we're back for second half commentary of Saints against Wigan. So you'll hear from the Wimbledon champion, Elena Rybakina. We'll do Rugby Union Weekly as well. We'll hear from the team on England's win in Australia a little bit earlier. They're also reacting to Ireland's first ever win in New Zealand. We'll look ahead to our full commentary from the Women's Euros, which is Sweden against the Netherlands. And we'll be at the Renaissance Club for round 3 of the Scottish Open. We'll do all of that after the news with Jill McCann.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
In the past hour, the Transport Secretary Grant Shapps has confirmed he'll run to be the new Conservative leader. He says he'd produce an emergency budget, cut personal tax for the poorest people and give state support to businesses with high levels of energy consumption. Our political correspondent is Jonathan Blake.
He's a capable media performer. He's often the minister sent out in the most difficult times for the government to do those interviews first thing in the morning when they're on the ropes and up against it. So he will be a key contender in the race. Whether he can command the level of support that is needed among MPs to get through to the final 2, we'll have to see.
Earlier, an MP considered to be a potential front-runner ruled himself out of the race. The Defence Secretary Ben Wallace said he wanted to focus on his current job. The Education Minister, Andrea Jenkins, has admitted she should have shown more composure when she made a rude gesture to a crowd outside Downing Street. She described the crowd as a baying mob and said she was standing up for herself. The home of Sri Lanka's Prime Minister has been set on fire as part of massive protests about the country's economic crisis. Thousands of people have also overrun the official residence of the country's president. Kalani Kumarasinghe is from the Sri Lankan Daily Mirror.
It's a revolution that was born out of months and months of suffering, because I don't think there is one single person in Sri Lanka who has not been affected by the lack of essentials. It is a revolution that we are seeing. We are hopeful that it won't turn violent as we have seen in the past.
Police in Japan have admitted there were flaws in the security setup for the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was shot dead yesterday. A gunman opened fire on Mr Abe while he was making a speech at a political event. And new research published in the European Heart Journal has found that people who add extra salt to their food are at a higher risk of dying early. At the age of 50, 1.5 years was knocked off the life expectancy of women and more than 2 years off the lives of men if they always took more salt.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
England's demise at Edgbaston looks close. Henry Moran.
It does. 109 for 9. The debutant Richard Gleeson, who had a brilliant day with the ball, is out for just 2. Chipping the ball up to Virat Kohli, who ran round to take an easy catch. He did a couple of keepy-ups with the ball as well in celebration. A third wicket for Bhuvneshwar Kumar. England now 110 for 9. They're still 62 runs away from a very unlikely victory. 26 balls left.
Such a great day of live sport on 5 Live today, and we've got Netherlands against Sweden at the Euros to come. Live commentary from 8 p.m, then that's followed by Derek Chisora against Kubrat Pulev for the European heavyweight title at the O2 in London. Big story of the day so far though, Elena Rybakina is the new Wimbledon ladies singles champion. She came from a set down to beat Ons Jabeur 3-6, 6-2, 6-2, and she becomes the youngest winner in over a decade. Afterwards she spoke to Sue Barker.
Elena, holding that trophy, Wimbledon champion, how does that feel?
Thank you so much. I'm actually speechless because I was super nervous before the match, during the match, and I'm honestly happy that it finished, to be honest, because really I never felt something like this. And I want to congratulate Ons for the great match and everything you achieved. It's amazing, and I think you're inspiration not only for the young juniors but for everybody. Really, you have an amazing game, and I don't think that we have someone like this on tour, and it's just a joy to play against you. And I ran today so much, so I don't think that I need to do fitness anymore, honestly. And also I want to say thank you for the Royal Box. I mean, I'm playing first time, and it's an honor to be here to play in front of you. I didn't expect that I'm going to be, honestly, in the second week of Grand Slam at Wimbledon, and to be a winner, I mean, it's just amazing, and I honestly don't have words to say how happy I am, but I wouldn't be here without my team. To my coach, he is here, and my sponsors, everyone, and of course to the rest of my team. They're at home, and actually the most important is my parents, of course. They're not here, just third time she's coming to me on the tournament, so it's I think unbelievable for her also what's happening now. But of course, first to my parents. Without them, I won't be here for sure. And yeah, just thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Such a good speech. More reaction on the Wimbledon Daily podcast on BBC Sounds. Alfie Hewitt and Gordon Reid's run of 10 consecutive Grand Slam wheelchair titles was ended in the doubles by Gustavo Fernandez and Shinjo Kaneda in straight sets. Of course, we've got commentary of the men's singles final. Novak Djokovic, Nick Kyrgios on tomorrow's 5 Live Sport. England have levelled their test series with Australia with a 25-17 victory in Brisbane. Billy Vunipola with England's only try. It was the boot of Owen Farrell that did the majority of the damage. 6 penalties he kicked. There's reaction on the Rugby Union Weekly podcast. Debutant former England player Tommy Freeman joining Chris Jones and Ugo Monya.
It was special, obviously my first cap, so it was a special day. Credit to the lads with 4 right to the end. As you saw in Perth, we lost a bit of momentum last time and it didn't go our way, but we stuck at it. We fought to the death and came up with the result. So yeah, chuffed to bits.
Now, lots of players, Tommy, make their debuts maybe on a summer tour and a low-profile game against a Tier 2 opposition or whoever. But to make your debut, 1-0 down in the series, thrust into start, you're not coming off the bench, you're playing against an Australia team who were full of confidence after Perth. When you were told you were starting, how did you feel and what was it like for you personally, that 80 minutes?
It was up on the board, and Eddie told me on Tuesday, and I looked at the bench first to have a look and see, and I didn't see, so I was pretty disappointed to start with, and then I saw myself on the starting sheet, and I was ecstatic really. I called Mum and got her on the quickest plane out. Mum and Dad, got them on the quickest plane out to come and watch. So it was a special day, and it was electric.
The guys are also talking about a really special day for Ireland, winning in New Zealand for the first time ever. Latest score, by the way, South Africa 12, Wales 3. They're in the second half now in Bloemfontein. Let's go to Ian Carter. You're watching the third round of the Scottish Open, Ian.
I am, and at long last, Cameron Tringali of the United States, who opened up with a course record equaling 61 on Thursday, has company at the top of the leaderboard because former champion Rafa Cabrera Bello of Spain has had an eagle and 3 birdies in a row to start his back 9 and has catapulted himself to 6 under par. Those two, one ahead of a group that includes the Olympic champion Xander Schauffele, who is 2 under for his first 10 holes today to get to 5 under par, and also Ryan Palmer, who's playing the 16th. A good day for Jordan Spieth that bodes well for St Andrews next week. Remember, Spieth was just a shot out of the playoff the last time the Open was at the home of golf. Well, he was round in 66 today with 2 eagles on the back 9 and at 4 under par. He'll be a dangerous presence heading into the second round tomorrow, the final round tomorrow.
Ian, thank you very much. I'm just going to pause as I give you the news from the F1 because I know a lot of people get annoyed if they find out before they can listen to the show or watch the highlights a bit later. So in Formula 1, Championship leader Max Verstappen dominated the sprint race in Austria. Ferrari duo Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc were 2nd and 3rd. You were warned. Right, let's take you to Bramall Lane because we are building up to Netherlands versus Sweden in the Women's Euros from 7, full commentary at 8 p.m. Delighted to say Pat Nevin is there. Good afternoon, Pat.
Good afternoon, Stephen. Don't panic. That is national anthems, but they're only practising. We've got a wee bit of time to go.
That's a good job because I'm at home at the minute and I've got to get into the studio before it starts, so I'm relieved. Is this your first game of the tournament? Because it's a great one, if so.
It is, and it's an absolute cracker. I was at the build-up game when the Netherlands played against England recently, and that was a phenomenal game. But this is the game of the tournament so far, I think. I don't think anyone would argue about that. 2 of the biggest nations, I was going to say, in European football and world football when you're talking about the women's game. And obviously the Dutch are holding the trophy at the moment, and the Swedes almost always get to the semi-final or the final. So this should be an absolute cracker, and a lot of very, very big names in the women's game playing tonight.
This isn't an anthem, is it?
I know some people would like it.
Stay there, Pat. There's been another wicket, the final wicket at Edgbaston, Henry.
England all out for 121 runs. Matt Parkinson bowled second ball without, scoring by Harshal Patel. And England, having lost the first T20 2 nights ago by 50 runs, have lost this one by 49. Well, a marginal improvement, I suppose, but another trouncing against a fine Indian side. England have got work to do in T20 cricket building up to the World Cup. They've lost the game, and now they've lost the series.
First time India have beaten England at Edgbaston in the T20, so congratulations to them back at Bramall Lane. Who are you most looking forward to see, Pat? Because it's one of those where you could pick 5 or 6 names easily for players who could be stars of this tournament.
Well, I mean, I think Lika Martins is a brilliant player. Was playing for Barca for a long time, but recently moved back over to France. But she is a phenomenal winger, and I like my wingers, as you probably know. Miedema, if Lika Martins plays well, then Miedema, she should score some goals in this tournament. And we all know that she's a fantastic goal scorer, as she's shown for Arsenal. But certainly the Swedish side, they've got so many goal scorers in the team. Young player called Kanyard. Watch out for her. She wasn't expected to be a certain influence in this team, but certainly coming through and has had a really good build-up to this competition. But other names like Blackstenius, everyone knows. But if I was to give you one name, and if you don't watch a lot of women's football, Asllani, if she starts for the Swedes, she is officially my favourite player in women's football. Not saying she's the best player, she's just my favourite player. But then again, I was a big fan of David Silva, so you can tell what kind of player she is.
This is the thing, we should just put you on all Netherlands games because we know they're going to play 4-3-3, Pat, so it's always going to be perfectly set up for you.
Yeah, and you're right, because they have got attacking players. Berenstein's an interesting one. She played against England in that game, which obviously the England team done brilliantly well, but I tell you what, the England fans didn't take to her well because she was throwing herself to the ground a little bit. But watch out for her, she's lightning quick, and she didn't back down against a very physical England defence. So yeah, she'll be in the right wing, as I say. Lika Martin's probably in the left wing. We haven't got the teams yet, but you expect that. There is a problem though with the Dutch, I've found recently. They've had to start playing a lot of new younger players, particularly at the back, and you know what it's like. International football, major tournament, but you got a lot of young players at the back, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what sort of back four they put out. Usually I'm interested in the front three, but the back four will be massively interesting for the Dutch. It's a real test for them. They are the holders, but I'd almost argue Sweden are probably favourites for this game tonight by the way that they've been playing recently.
The other interesting thing, of course, is that they've got an English coach, the Netherlands, in Mark Parsons. And I've been reading, we're going to hear from him before the game because he's a very interesting guy. He seems like one of these who sort of goes in for the very, very marginal games. But he said of his Dutch players, they have a really high level of game knowledge. So I have to say less and do less because they have great insight. I mean, that makes coaching sound easy, Pat.
It certainly does, but they are Dutch players, you know, and Dutch players were through the Cruyff method all the way through that. It's been part of Dutch football and it's part of the women's game as well. He is building them up a little bit there. You need to have knowledge, but you also have to have physical, ability in this game, particularly in these championships. And as I say, I've watched England and they're a really strong physical team, as well as having that technique. And the technique did not let them down. Didn't let them down against England, but the physicality did. So you need to add both sides to it. There's no problem with that side of it. But Mark Parsons is a really interesting manager. A lot of the Dutch managers, you think, they've had some brilliant managers over the years, but none of the men seem to want to take that job. So Mark's come in, obviously an Englishman. He spent some time with the reserves at Chelsea before he went and had a good career over as a manager over in the USA. But it's a big call for him because somebody went and stole one of the best managers from the Dutch. I wonder who done that, eh?
Yeah, tough task to replace Serena Wiegman. Right, thank you, Pat. Full commentary at 8 p.m. Build-up starts properly at 7. In the other game tonight in the Women's Euros group stage, it's Portugal 0, Switzerland 2. That's the same group as Netherlands and Sweden. So we've got all that to come, but we're going to take you back to Magic Weekend. Second half commentary of St Helens, Wigan. Dave Woods.
Well, fantastic atmosphere here. You can hear Hey Jude going out on the PA system, and we've been really entertained at half-time as well, because the learning disability rugby league teams, various teams have been out there playing, really enjoying it, and everybody who was watching on really enjoyed the fact that they were really enjoying as well, people really buy into that. It's become a bit of a tradition at Magic Weekend that we see plenty of those learning disability rugby league games as well. As far as the main event is concerned, Wigan against St Helens, you could argue the main event of this first day of the Magic Weekend here at St James's. Well, it's half time, it's St Helens 2, it's Wigan 6. The St Helens players just coming back onto the field for the second half, with Paul Rowley and Brian Noble alongside me. I should imagine a real air of determination now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if we had a chat before the game and describe what does a big game look like, what does a cup final generally look like, well, quite often the tense affairs, aren't they? Dominated by defences and not many opportunities. So as we pointed out in the first half, I think when you do get them opportunities, which might come from a bouncing ball, a missed pass, something not quite as expected as you'd think, then you've got to make sure you claim it and get the points on the board. So
let me get this. You were the St Helens coach, is that right?
Yeah, you were theoretically.
So therefore, Brian Noble, you're the Wigan coach. What have you said? What have you said to your players at half time?
No, I'm real happy. I'm saying, listen, if we can cut out some of the things that's been hurting ourselves and giving Saints opportunities, I think when we get and do the stuff that we're doing, it's causing them more problems. And so more of the same, please, boys. Go away from them and come back at them at the middle, find a couple of passes and a couple of hands-on. And so I'm thinking they've got some troubles with that Saints camp. Looking at their coach here right now in his face and in his eyes, I'm thinking they've got no answers to what we're doing.
Just for clarification, Brian Noble was once the Wigan coach. And Paul Rowley is still the Salford coach. There might be Salford fans driving up the A1 at the moment thinking, hang on. But he will be here in his coaching role tomorrow. Salford against Huddersfield. The other games tomorrow, Hull against Hull Kingston Rovers, Warrington against Catalan. We've already seen Wakefield 26, Toulouse 38. What a huge result that has been for the bottom end of the table. Suddenly there's only 2 points between Toulouse at the bottom and Wakefield 1 place above them. And as we said earlier, the next 3 Toulouse games, they're at home for the next 3 games. So they will fancy they've got a chance of staying up. But the second half is underway right now. The kick-off from Wellesby, the St Helens man, kicks it downfield. It's taken by Kate Cust, who has possession. I'll not run you through the two teams because they change so much as the match goes on, players off, injuries, etc, etc. But the headline, Alex Walmsley not in that St Helens team today. And it is, I mean, they're not a one-man team.
Robbie's gone there, and he had a wobble. I don't know if you've seen that, Nobby. Margot's gone right at him. Just so much like Saints are spotting Powell. They've just gone, sorry to interrupt, they've just gone right at Robbie. Absolutely rocked him. Nobody's picked that up, or he would have to come off there, I feel.
He's still putting a tackle in, though. He is, as Brian Noble would say, one tough hombre. Is he going to stay on, Brian? Kick downfield.
Yeah, of course he'll stay on.
Kick downfield, take him.
Nowhere. He's a freak. He'll hide it.
Well, we
broke his finger the other week and put it back in himself.
Just put it back
made
in.
a play.
And as we've mentioned many times before, Johnny Lomax playing with a bicep injury, the torn bicep. Can't get any worse, he says. So just strip it up and play. Roby still there, dummy half, throws it to the right-hand side, and St Helens beginning to move forward here on the halfway line. St Helens 2, Wigan 6. Really tough first half. Few handling mistakes from both sides, but some quality in defence, and the try when it came was high quality. Jay Field's pass, the miss-out pass for Bevan French to score in the corner that left Regan Grace absolutely clutching at air. Here comes Wellesby, kicks towards the touchline. It bounces out of play, so it's out of play for the first time in the second half. Wigan will get the ball back, but only 10 metres from their own line. What have you made of these early stages?
I reckon the quality of Saints kicks this second half is going to have to be pinpoint in attack, because they've identified that both centres for Wigan are going to shoot the line, get up on the fringes and stop them getting the ball to the edges. So the quality of what they do, and that responsibility clearly on Wellesby and Lomax this second half to expose and maybe get the ball back in relation to Wigan being so aggressive on the fringes.
Cricket's all over. If you missed it, England have lost, India have won. We've got the Women's European Championship big match, Netherlands against Sweden, coming up later this evening as well. But just for the moment, this is the focus of our attention here on 5 Live. It is Wigan against St Helens at Magic Weekend, and it's Wigan in possession, 30 metres out from their own line. Powell comes out of dummy half, goes left to Farrell. Farrell just tries to bludgeon a way through, chisel his way through a couple of those big mountains coming his way, and he's not going to do that. Stopped short of the halfway line. It's with Smith. Smith to Field. Field passes on again. Isa gets it away to French. French suddenly puts the foot down. Him and Grace in a foot race. The ball is kicked back on the inside.
What a kick.
Bateman will score. That is sensational. That is absolutely sensational. This is a football ground. We will not see many better football passes in the next Premier League season than that. Bevan at full pace with a kick back on the inside. Bateman there, catches on the bounce, touches down. Wigan have their second try.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, they've gone from this left edge, but they've gone through the middles, and I think that's really key to everything they're doing. They've gone through the middles. It's Havard, who's great with the ball in his hands. He's played off the back there, and then they get it to the speedsters, don't they? Jay Field and Bevan French. Bevan French, for me, at the minute, is Wigan's best player, not just today, but in general, for the last 2 months. He's got everything. He's fast, he can kick, he can pass, but he's gone down the touchline. Regan Grace chasing. What a kick. Nobby shouted out in delight. As it happened, he's cut it straight back across, and Bateman, as he does, he's just churning up the metres in the middle, picks it up into his hands, lovely bounce, and chips in there right at the side of the post. So it's going to be a 6-pointer.
Well, that's technically brilliant. The kick from French at full speed. So he's got it in his hands. For our listeners, he's flying down the sideline because Wigan have exposed Saints on the fringes. There's only one bloke on the inside of there and 3 blue jumpers, 3 Saints jumpers. He's picked him out. That's how good that kick is for Bateman.
If Kevin De Bruyne had delivered a pass like that, we'd have been watching it time and time again, quite rightly.
I wonder what the difference in Sterling would be, the quality of passes and reward,
I should imagine Bevan French probably will earn in his career approximately the same amount that Kevin De Bruyne earns in a month, maybe 2 months. Anyway, the kick's gone over Harry Smith. It's now St Helens 2, Wigan 12, and from a St Helens point of view, Paul Rowley, this is just getting a little alarming.
Yeah, strangely, it feels like it was almost the next try was. I don't want to say next try winner, but it just feels like Wigan have it's just unleashed something from Wigan, and it's a dangerous position now for St Helens. If Wigan did get that next try, it's looking precarious for St Helens. Wigan have kind of found the stride these last 10 minutes of the first half and the opening minutes of this second half.
Bang on, coach. I just think this is a test for Saints now in relation to their championship credentials, although it's not pivotal in relation to the championship credentials, and they've given a penalty away, most on Saints like, so they've been rocked out their stride, haven't they?
Yeah, the pack has made a difference, Nobby. I do feel that.
Well, I was going to say that. I mean, we talk about Walmsley, and they lost in Toulouse, didn't they, early this year, and Walmsley didn't play, and people have said, oh, you take Walmsley out of this side and they're a different animal, St Helens. That's an over-exaggeration, isn't it?
Well, definitely on goal forward. His defence wouldn't be his strongest attribute. He's got misses in there like everybody has. He's only a human being, but he's certainly a big body going forward. Freakishly big, freakishly athletic. However, they've got a good team out there. Let's not get too carried away. They've got a great team out there. Forget injuries. But the bench haven't been as good. Simple.
Mega plays the ball. Powell picks up at dummy half, runs on purpose at Batchelor to just show the referee he's offside. The referee, instead of giving the penalty, waves another set of 6. So it's a little bit of professionalism there from Powell. Anyway, he's got the penalty, and Wigan now have another set of 6 to attack. Farrell with a step back on the inside. He's not scored his customary try so far today, but he almost opened up that Saints defence there, but they closed quickly enough. Havard strides onto it, pushing 5 metres out from the St Helens line at the moment. Powell at dummy half, looks inside, plenty of tackles in the back, may go with the offload, and Powell tries to get a kick in that's gone to ground. The referee says play on, but then when the tackle comes in, he does give it as a knock on. I think he was probably looking to see, well, if we can score a try here, we can go for the video referee. But
yeah, he couldn't see the ref. He was just there was some players in front of him he couldn't see, so he's obviously had a nudge there off touch judge, and he's quite correct. Mago's gone for the offload, and as a Saints player just got involved and dislodged the ball when Sam Powell was about to catch it. So it's a knock on. It's Saints ball, and relieve the pressure really. Disappointing for Wigan.
10 metres from their own line here, St Helens. This is where they start, but they've gone through 2-3 passes already. Out to Regan Grace. John Bateman grabs hold of him. Regan Grace is off to French Rugby Union, isn't he, at the end of the year? I don't think he's available for Wales Rugby League in the World Cup, which is a real shame, because he would have had quite a stage to have expressed himself on in that competition. Still, the money's good in France. Offload is tidy enough. Referee decides from Sirinen.
There's a couple of early subs warming up for Saints here, Knowles and Joey Lussick. So I think the coach there, Christian Wolff, has obviously sensed that they need change in this. They need to change the momentum, and that next try is really important.
Wellesby comes out to Hurrell. Hurrell now travelling with menace because he's got that big body and that huge determination, but he's put down 35 metres out from the Wigan line. Last play, Wellesby puts the kick up in the air. Field has a look ahead and then looks to the sky and catches it and evades the first man coming his way, Wingfield, and gets caught by the second. But there are some fullbacks who have that habit, aren't there? Michael Withers, one that you had, who just seems to beat the first man, whatever the circumstances, but not the second. Wigan 20 metres from their own line.
Well, I think the Saints coach needs some new troops. I think he's sensing that what we're sensing. Wigan seem to be in the ascendancy here. They've started the second half on fire. They've got movement. They've got go forward. They need to be taking out their strides, and I think the boys Lussick and the boy Knowles are capable of doing that.
8.5 minutes of the second half played. St Helens 2, Wigan 12. Harry Smith from 5 metres inside his own area kicks a ball up in the air, and Wigan Grayson really well to catch that, because there's obviously a bit of a breeze, and the higher the ball went,
it started blowing. Interesting that Wigan have just sent their middles out for a warm-up as well, so now you've got Byrne, Singleton, Matty Peach just showing his troops and his armoury as well, so there's a lot for Wigan as well. Let's not be mistaken that Wigan's going to come on and anything's going to change. The challenge is for St Helens, not for Wigan.
Wingfield tackle on the halfway line. Roby spins it to the right hand side and look at Lomax. Lomax offers away to Batchelor. Batchelor just tries to batter down the door, but the locks remain, the hinges still hold out. Those Wigan defenders coming his way, so he has to go to ground, and now Norman drives it forward inside the 30, but that's the last of the fifth play, the penultimate play in the set. Plays it, Roby goes left again, Wellesby looks as though he might kick and then throws it out to Matortia. Matortia left-footed, threads it towards the goal line. Fields across there to catch it, and then he's smashed to the ground. But he won't mind that, because he's got the ball safely, and Wigan are 10 metres from their own line at the moment, with French who carries it on.
Right. Still good line speed from St Helens. They're still sniffing this result. They're still sniffing a play. If they can keep them this half of the field and get some decent field position, they'll still fancy it.
Isa gets up and plays. Smith acting in dummy half, throws it to Bateman. Bateman, try scorer in this second half, runs it forward up to the 30-metre mark. Powell is back there at half. Smith, well, he's going for a 40-20 here, or is he just going for distance? He's just going for distance, kicks it downfield. The Wigan chase is terrific here. It's a wall of pink, and so when it's picked up by Hopewati, he gets no more than the 20-metre mark where he's tackling.
I think Saints are really struggling here. I think they need something. They're looking for something, and you know what? They'll put Knowles and Lussick on. If they leave Roby on, Wigan will still be licking the lips, because they've got two players to go at now. Lussick, who's very chesty defensively, and Roby, obviously they want to keep battering Roby because he's their talisman. So there's a lot to go at for Wigan, and I think they're sensing blood here. These are big moments for St Helens.
Grace, 30 metres from his own line where he's tackled. McCarthy Scarsbrook twists and turns in the tackle, but he has his legs taken out from underneath him, so he has to go to ground. Gets up and plays it. Roby now to Lomax. Lomax skipping over the halfway line. The ball is away. There's a terrific pass to Bennison, but Bibby's across there. Marshall there too. Bennison does well to hit the ground and not go out of play under the weight of that defence. Wellesby now runs it down the blind side, gets the pass away to Batchelor. Batchelor's dropped it.
Brilliant.
Has he dropped it?
He's got that down. He's brilliant.
He's kicked it. He's got a kick. He kicked it and he's touched it down. So brilliant from the inside play from Wellesby, but then from Batchelor to show that skill as well.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant from Batchelor, because the interplay, hurled down the side, Wellesby creates it. Saints looking for a short side opportunity. I tell you what, he had a fullback in front of him and he's dribbled it past him, picked it up, so we see a brilliant short kick here. Refields it himself again and puts it over the line. I don't need to run over you, I'll just kick the ball past you.
We're right behind him. It looked like he dropped it there for a moment, but it was a kick, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, it was a kick, and like you say, it was again, there was Wigan were dealing with everything, looking comfortable, and then Zatman Welsby again, who I must say, he started the game really well as well for St Helens. He was a shining light. He looked the most dangerous player at the beginning of the game, and then he's come up against the run of play. When Saints needed something special, he's come up with something special that probably only he could do. And then obviously Batchelor as a back rower, well, that was magic just to finish off there. Like you say, anybody else, any of the back rower is trying to run over the full-back there. He's put it on the foot and dribbled round him.
Denison. And we're back on the golf tee with Paul Rowley.
Yeah.
That was an awful attempted conversion from Denison. He never got anywhere near. It started 20 yards right, never drifted, did it?
It's a big kick.
That's out of bounds all day.
It's a big kick as well, because that's kept it at 12-6. So, good for Wigan. But this has just reignited the game again. Everything I said in the previous 3 minutes now, chuck it in the bin.
Yeah, forget it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Game on. Here we go.
Sean Wayne, the England coach, is here today, watching on. He's got to look at Joe Batchelor. England has terrific strength in the back row and a lot of depth in the back row, but Batchelor's got to be one of those he's got to be considering, isn't he?
Absolutely. He hit the line in the first 2 minutes that went through. It was him who hit the line on the right edge for St Helens, went straight through the Wigan team. He's good. He's a good player. He's come on leaps and bounds. He's been a patient player in his career. He was great at York. I coached against him at York. He was good then, and St Helens have done a great job with him, and he's done a great job with himself, obviously, because he's worked really hard to get where he is.
Great maturity as well to him, Joe Batchelor. I know he does a lot of work with the mental fitness of older supporters.
His brother's not a bad one as well. He's Sam Fulcar from Wakefield. He's a very, very good player.
14 minutes of the second half played. St Helens 6, Wigan 12, 26 minutes to go.
I'll tell you what they are, Dave and Nobby, the footballers, I like footballers, as you know, so and England likes footballers, that's our style, and absolutely he'd be in and around for me because he can play rugby. What other back rower does that, what he's just did? Not many. I can't name one, actually.
There's a kick from Lomax. Field underneath it. Oh, the hoofs were coming tramping at him. Welsby came flying in, timed his tackle to absolute perfection. Field solid on the ground, and Welsby's just knocked him over, bowled him over, and there's a real aggression now to St Helens defence, because Marshall is the next to take it in and find that meet and greet committee, which is very, very physical at the moment. Wigan going to have a real trouble getting out of their own 30-40 metre mark here ahead of the kick, aren't they?
Yeah, they're good at that, though. I mean, they had to hang in for 25 minutes in the first half, and now Saints have put their foot back on the accelerator through the auspices of Welsby. I have to say, I think he's led the line in many things. The kick chase, the play there that should have been a kick for the Batchelor try, it wasn't. He says, no, I found a hole here, and gave it to the boy Batchelor.
Harry Smith's kick travelled through the air, never hit the ground, which meant that Hopewati catches it on his chest, and he's back almost at the halfway line before Wigan's defence can meet him. So there's another little lift for St Helens. Conrad Hurrell comes flying in. He's not got a number on his back anymore, Conrad Hurrell. I'm not sure what that's all about, but you can't mistake him, can you? He's such a terrific figure. St Helens working their way inside Wigan territory. Roby at dummy half. Throws it left to Lomax. Lomax now at speed, and a little ball back on the inside again. St Helens tracking forward with menace once more. It's picked up left to Welsby. Welsby goes on that right foot step. Pass away, but there's no way that Sirenan's going to get through. Last play. Saints go down the blind side, and they're going to be held up just short. Matortia put down over there. But again, quite happy to hand the ball back to Wigan, only 2 metres from the Wigan line.
Yeah, I'm just watching the bench of the Saints. There's a real schmozzle going. Who's going on, who's going off? Nobody wants to come off. Or is it just a ploy to get the trainers on and deliver messages? One might say that they might be being a little bit shifty there, St Helens. They've got the trainers flooding the ground and really pumping up the St Helens players with a bit of a fake substitute going on, I think.
Here's Farrell. Farrell pushing forward up to the 20 metre mark, but they're running out of tackles here, Wigan, and St Helens are singing one of their songs. Their fans are massed to our left, Wigan fans in the old Gallagate end.
Well, it is for Saints to change it, Dave. You know, Wigan are still 12-6 up. It's hard to think that of the last 5 minutes, and you see the ascendancy of the powder blue jumpers. You think that they're in control. There's still a score behind, so they have to force the issue.
Brian Noble, coach, fashion critic. Harry Smith with a kick downfield. Big one, taken by Benison. Benison picks it up, runs it back, and he's met by a good Wigan chase, so he's put down 35 metres out. Lussick's on the field, Roby stays on the field. We've seen that combination. We thought with Lussick signing this year that Roby might play fewer minutes in what is ostensibly his last season, though suggestions he might be going around again next year. But whenever Lussick comes on, Roby just stays out there.
Yeah, he does. He drops into loose forward, so just sharpening the game up. Does that tell you Wolf thinks they're just in the ascendancy? Wigan are creaking a little bit in and around the middle, so a little bit return serve from what Wigan have been doing to them.
22 minutes to play. St Helens coming on the attack again. The big pass. Conrad Hurrell just sways backwards because it wasn't an easy one for him to catch. Lets it fly out to Benison. Benison collects, but he's immediately tackled. Wellesby now picks it up, evades one man, puts a little grubber kick in, goes to ground. Harry Smith comes across, collects it for Wigan, and Wigan have it back only 10 metres from their own line. They're under pressure again here though, Wigan. With or without the ball, they're under a lot of pressure. Similar to that first half.
Yeah, I just think Wellesby's injected himself into this game for the last 5 minutes. Both attack and the last plays are good. Nobby pointed out right at the beginning about his last plays. Well, he's challenging Wigan with his last plays. He's asking questions. The short kicking game, the long kicking game. He's been great. Is he going to run it? Is he going to kick it? And he's putting his body on the line as well. He's thoroughly enjoying his defence, which is brilliant to see from pivot.
Bateman's tried an offload. He was spinning as he did. He's lost it. It's picked up by Wellesby. Wellesby's heading towards the corner, and he slides in to score. Bevan French was after him. There's some doubt here. The touch judge is having a word with the referee.
Well, they want to look at it, won't they? Let's be honest.
Here we go. What's he saying on the field? He says try on the field, the referee. Has Wellesby just got the score that could see St Helens draw level again here?
Well, we were just saying it's that man again, Wellesby. He's involved in the tackle, caused the error, the forced error from Bateman. He picked up the spoils, and he still had to beat two people and pulled out the tackles.
Do you know, I'm watching him run around. He's got a running style like Paul Wellens, if you look at him. He's got that hunched little shoulders there, but he's like as tough and tenacious as Paul Wellens, as everyone knows, an absolute champion. But he's got the skills and ability of something out of this world. He's a fantastic player, isn't he?
Here we go.
Talk about England.
That's a try. Every day of the week. Every day of the week, that's a try.
This is it, turning out to be the Wellesby show at the minute. What a great player.
And you've got to have some pace to get there with Bevan French chasing you, don't you?
Well, it's downhill there.
Is that it?
It actually is downhill.
Well, the man he's chasing is running downhill as well.
And he's a big boy, so when he's downhill, it takes some stopping.
Right. But there is a little bit of a camber,
there's
isn't
quite
it?
a slope there, actual fact.
Not like the Batley slope, though, is it?
Not just the same as the Batley one.
Which is more of a mountain than a slope. Anyway, here we go. Video referee decision. Try is given. Jack Wellesby scores. St Helens 10, Wigan 12. And young John Benison on that far side's got a big kick here, tight to the touchline. If he puts it over, it's all square. But St Helens will be massively encouraged. 12-2 down in the early stages of the second half. They've got it back to 12-10.
Yeah, they're doing what Saints do. They're just building pressure. They've gained territory. They've tried a couple of times on this right edge with a cut-out pass. It's not happened for them, so it's just execution's been a little bit off. But they have been patient. They've not made errors. They've defended tough. They've kicked well. They've asked lots of questions, and that's come from defence. Contact, forced error, pick it up and score the try. It sounds simple, but Saints do it better than anybody else, and that's why they're the champions.
Here we go. Benison missed by a shocking distance with a conversion attempt not that long ago. Now has one right from the touchline, and he scoops it high. Not high enough, not long enough, not straight enough. The kick is missed again, and you said the last miss could be a big one, and equally that could be a big one.
Sometimes in champion teams, and I consider both these two teams champion teams, you need something special to happen from somebody when things aren't quite going your way. They fought their way back into this game because the boy Wellesby stood up. He's found a couple of kick plays, he's found a defensive play, he's outrun Bevan French, and not many people do that. So I reckon single-handedly and collectively as a team with their effort, he's brought them back into this.
Kick downfield from the restart. Lomax catches it, and here comes St Helens again. We've got 20 minutes left to play. St Helens 10, Wigan 12. Don't forget, coming up, if you've been watching the Women's European Championships, you'll have been loving it. It's been really fab, lots of goals, lots of skills, and we've got a big match tonight, Netherlands against Sweden. build-up and full commentary. The cricket's all over. England lost, India won. By a distance, the Indians won. Again, in the limited overs form of the game. But in this game, this second match of the magic weekend in Super League, Rugby League Super League, it is everything to play for with 20 minutes to go. St Helens coming forward again with Lussick running out of dummy half, scampering and galloping, just getting through a couple of Wigan defenders, but they're on the sixth tackle again. Wellesby again with a little chip over the top. He's chasing after this. The ball bounces. It's taken in. It's kept alive, and I think is it Isa over there or French over there who's managed to whip the ball back Wigan's way. And it looked like Wellesby was conjuring something magical again, but it's Wigan who have it back.
Yeah, they made a sub about 5 minutes ago. Joey Lussick came on. That's his second carry in 5 minutes. This time clean through. He started really well. Just kept Wigan on an early shift here, but it's come to nothing. Yeah, but they've made about 60 metres. Real disappointing from Wigan's perspective. I think the Saints are really controlling the tempo of the game. They're doing everything on their own terms, at their own pace, and Wigan are just, as we say it's early, just going through a little bit of a tough period and need to regain some element of control to this game.
Well, Wigan will hope that it'll be a replication of the first half, because for the first 20... just chance to kick it down.
Craig Cuss kicked it downfield. He knew he was going to get smashed from right and left. He got the kick away, but guess what? He was smashed right and left. He gets up, he looks a bit groggy, but he's okay. But he's got the kick downfield. St Helens have it back. 2 tackles gone. They're within 8 metres of the halfway line. There's a stoppage here as well, I think. Who's that St Helens player?
I was just trying to reinforce from the first half, Dave, that Wigan were on the back foot for most of that until the last 15 minutes. Now they'll be hoping for a replication of that in the second half, because Saints has certainly upped the ante. Other than the first breakaway try, if you like, from that first 5 minutes of the second half, it's been all Saints again, but it was in the first half. So can Wigan hang in there and find themselves another score themselves when the middle is kind of disrupted? But they look a whole lot more determined to St Helens, and look a whole lot more energised by what they're doing at the moment.
Well, the Lussick-Roby combination is going to give them that energy, isn't it, Nobby? And because I was just going to say there's another exchange in the forwards to come, but maybe Christian Wolf's thinking he'll get his more important players, if you like, your Knowles, your Lees out there longer if he uses Roby and Lussick in that particular fashion. But they're certainly controlling ruck speed at the minute, Saints, and they're doing things on their terms. They're sitting back on Wellesby, letting him run, and nobody really knows what he's going to do. We're sat here wondering ourselves, so he's worrying Wigan to no end, and every end to set is an uncomfortable one for Wigan at the minute.
Well, John Bennison has let's get it right. John Bennison has had his treatment. He's
Is
okay.
there a player called John Dennison?
Can't remember.
No, maybe can.
No. Does it matter?
Not really.
No. You're just trying to pick
fill in the spaces till there's play on.
You're trying to pick fault there, aren't you, Brian?
No, not at all.
John Bennison's okay. I'm sure John Dennison, wherever he is okay as well. Lees has taken it for St Helens inside that Wigan half. Now it comes to Lomax. Lomax to Wellesby. Wellesby on that far side to Matortia. Matortia's put down 30 metres out, left hand flank. Struggling out of the couple of defenders there to get up and play the ball as quickly as he possibly can. Lussick out of dummy half, scrambling forward again with a carry out of the acting half-back position. Last play coming up. Wellesby trusted with the play. He puts the boot on it. Not a good one this time from his point of view. And laughing there because it was caught by Jayfield. And again, looked like a little lad running at a big group of adults, and he's bashed to the ground again. But Wigan have it 10 metres from their own line. Still, St Helens 10, Wigan 12. In a really highly intense game at the top end of Super League. St Helens started the day in first place, 2 points clear of Wigan in second place. Much better points difference as well. So if Wigan do hang on and win here, they will still be second by virtue of that points difference, unless they won by something like 40 clear points, which is not going to happen. Here's Cust for Wigan. Fifth tackle is caught in possession, 20 metres out from his own line. So Harry Smith's got a big kicking job here, sends it downfield. Again, it's caught safely by Hopewati. He travels back inside the Wigan half, and that's where St Helens will start their set. there's the benefit of a good defensive set beforehand, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think Saints are battering this Wigan right edge at the minute. Like I said before, Wellesby's throwing a lot of chip kicks in, so we spoke about how they're going to deal with Isa getting up hard on right edge in that first half. Well, they've learned the lesson. They're playing chip kicks. It's uncomfortable for Isa and that right edge, and they're finishing in that right edge as well, because they want to take Bevan French's run threat away, so they're letting him catch it and basically putting some numbers in and around him, so take him out of the rest of the set. So really tactical awareness from St Helens and following the plan to a T.
16 minutes to play. Lusick at a dummy half, left hand side, throws it out there. Hopewati tries to bring it back on the inside again, but Sirinen spun to the ground.
I think he got hurt.
He's hurt. Yeah, you could sell that.
There's a penalty possibly here, Nobby, because he's come in, hasn't he, Singleton?
Referee's not moving, is he? I don't think he's even convinced.
If this is a stoppage, he'll get a nudge off the...
Yeah, he's going to have to stop the game now.
I think it's contact with the head, but I think he's turned into the tackle, so I don't... It's a funny one, but as the rules state, I think it is contact with the head, so depends whether he gets a call from upstairs. Just looking at it on the replay now. I'll tell you now, it's...
That's a bit more than a green card, that one.
Well, there's a card, but I'm not sure it should be green. I've seen reds for these, Nobby.
Yeah, the shoulder. It was the shoulder of Singleton, wasn't it, who came in as third man.
Yeah.
And
I'm going
caught
red.
the head.
I'm going red. I'm not,
I think it's red.
I'm not sitting on the fence. I'm going red.
Well, it's definitely a green, because he needs 2 minutes on the sideline.
Yeah.
For Sirinen.
Well, the referee... And this is what happens, isn't it? Because if he'd have got up and played the ball, the referee wouldn't have done anything here. But because there's that stoppage, suddenly the video referee gets a look. Here comes a card. It is a red card. It is a red card for Brad Singleton. Sent off. Straight sending off for Brad Singleton. We've still got 15 minutes to play. And Wigan will play those last 15 minutes with only 12 men on the field. Singleton comes off shaking his head. It's one of those that certainly wasn't intentional, was it? But
it's reckless.
Reckless is the word, yeah.
It's reckless.
Yeah.
It's reckless. He's got to bend his back. It's as simple as that. It's without sounding like the judiciary, and we've been sat there enough, myself and Brian. It's your responsibility to take due care and attention when you're entering the tackle. The player's welfare is in your hands. And
well, he's not complaining. It's an indication that he knows what he's done.
His 200th Super League appearance today as well, Brad Singleton. Well, few of those for a club called Toronto. Do you remember them?
Yeah, he didn't play for me though.
No,
but what you have got is two people who's just reminisced about the good times. So that is a.
In the meantime,
yeah, he's coming off. He's Sirinen.
Sirinen's off for injury.
We're just going to start
a head check this
telling
one.
you stories about Toronto then, Dave. You spoiled me thread, but we're not telling you now.
No. All right, okay. Spoil sport.
You have to buy the book then.
This is to make it all square. Here comes the kick, and it has gone over. So, Benison kicks it. He's missed a couple of shockers, but now he's kicked one, a penalty.
Yeah.
And it means that with 15 minutes to play, 14 minutes now to play, it's all square. St Helens 12, Wigan 12, and St Helens will have the extra man for the next 15 minutes. Is there a way for Wigan to win it from here, or do you make St Helens favourites from here on in?
I make them favourites, definitely. That's a great call. I do make Saints favourites, but is there a way for Wigan to win? Absolutely. Each individual take the responsibility of making the extra tackle that Singleton was making in around the middle, but bearing in mind Saints have been causing problems in the middle, and blokes like Paz here running the ball back at you with that kind of vigour off the back fence, then you got a job full.
Field position, that's all that matters now. Field position. So to do that, we're going to have to defend more resolutely because they've been rolled, but they've started this set all right. So here we go.
There's some collisions going on here now. Defenders and attackers running at each other at top speed.
By the way, them shockers that Benison missed were both on the touchline.
They were
slightly unfair though.
Yeah, but they still missed by a long way.
Yeah.
This is Matortia for St Helens, just inside the Wigan half when he's tackled. Picked up by Wellesby at dummy half. Lusick switches it back into the middle, and we've hardly mentioned Morgan Knowles. He's 40 metres out when he's tackled. Gets up and plays it back to Lomax. Lomax puts the kick up in the air. Marshall underneath it for Wigan, 2 metres from his own line. Has a look up, nowhere to go. He's going to do well to stay in the field of play. He has done well.
He does real well. Because they'd got him. Burrell picked him up, and I thought they were going to rush him towards their own try line.
They're not off the up though. The frying pan fire here.
Did he?
Good carries these, to be fair. Good carries. Farrell first one, Bibby second one.
And then Marshall again. So, out they go to that right-hand side. Wigan shifting it wide, and Bevan French putting a bit of a step on, but Regan Grace grabs a hold and puts him down. Picked up, and it's moved back towards the middle again. Bateman tracking to the middle. Cuss just looks as though he was going to pass, and then he looked up and thought, hang on, I might have a go forward here, but St Helens defenders wrapping themselves around him. 12 minutes left, 12-12. But of course, Saints do have that extra man with a sending off of Singleton for Wigan. Kick downfield, ball bounces up into the hands of Will Hopewati for St Helens. Dennison takes the pass from Hopewati, and he's given the thankless task of running at that straight Wigan line. There's no way through. 20 metres out from his own line.
Really good set from Wigan, that. Really good.
Good.
Two tough carries to start, then a left to right shift. A bit of bravery, to be honest. A bit of ad-lib, but brave play. And it got him some field position. But Saints are churning him up now with in this half. They've got in the Wigan half on play 3. And the Bunsen burner is well and truly on.
Picked up and passed on to Passy. Passy driving in again. Just gets a bit of a twist on his back as he goes down. Lussick stands and waits, hands on knees at dummy half. Goes to that left-hand side of Knowles, and Knowles pass back towards the middle, but Wigan's defence is holding tight for the moment. 20 metres for Saints to cover. One tackle in which to do it here. Lomax looks, double pumps the pass. Hopewati tries to throw off the defender, who's not being thrown off. Harry Smith keeps a hold. So St Helens have to hand the ball over again, but again only a couple of yards from the Wigan line.
They look short, don't they? They look short, Wigan, and obviously they're a man down, but Jai Fielder's not put himself in the line where you see a fullback would normally put himself as an illusion in the line to stop the run play. But because of Welby's chip kicks that he's been doing in the previous 3 or 4 sets, they're very nervous about the kick, and so he's took himself out the line. There's massive spaces, so there's a running opportunity for Saints now.
Rugby League World Cup kicks off here October the 15th. We cannot wait. Men's, women's, wheelchair. It's going to be brilliant. All starts England against Samoa on that 15th of October. Here comes Farrell running through.
Great run.
Sean Wayne watching on the England coach here today, and he'll be enjoying what he's seeing here, because this is a proper good game. Real test between two top quality teams. It's Issa, passes out to French on that far side. French being carried towards the touchline. He throws it back in field. Issa's still flat on his backside, catches the ball above his head from the ground, and then offloads it as well. And Bateman takes the pass, but he's pushed back. And Wigan on the 5th tackle find themselves 10 metres away from the halfway line, and here comes Jay Fields having a run. Fields got a gap, and he's running into that gap, chips it over towards that right hand side, bounces up and away from Bevan French. French has it again. French skips away from the tackle and scores the try. Astonishing, absolutely astonishing, full of tricks, full of deception, and there's one big question hanging in the air. Is it going to be given? The referee's gone for the video replay. He thinks it's a try on the field, but maybe just like the rest of us, he just wants to see that again.
Well, let me tell you, when they go to the try of the month this month, there'll be 3 tries out of this game in the try of the month. So we spoke earlier, not seeing a lot of tries, but the ones that we have seen have been special, and this is the most special of them all. I'll let Nobby describe it. He's got some good adjectives to
they've gone to the edge, and it's a dead play, but French gets into the clear, and I think Jai Field goes through the middle, finds him, and he can't kick the ball that way when he's running that quickly. He kicks it off his foot. It goes laterally to his right to pick out French, who then hurdles the fullback and puts it on underneath. Checking the sideline, ain't nowhere near the sideline, but Field has found a play on the fringe off of Cuss, and they've just got through. He's got into the backfield, he's weaved his way through 2 or 3 defenders, and then he's somehow going the opposite way, found a kick to his right hand side, and French, who's his partner in crime, the 2 quickest blokes on the field, finds a finish for him. Wow, we've seen 3 unbelievable tries from kicks today.
Bevan French had no right, the bounce was not favourable. So when you get in this picture, as Nobby says, it's come off the edge of his right foot.
Try confirmed.
He's a right foot kicker. He's kicked right off the side of his foot. It's bounced away from Bevan French.
And he's running left.
It's not bounced into his hand. This is an unusual, this is like freakish what he's done there. He's chased the ball towards the touchline, picked it up, and as you said there, Nobby, it was like a steeplechase. He's done a goose step, kick out, and somehow got himself over the try line. We've just seen 2 athletes Playing rugby.
In ancient football, where I understand, there was a bloke called was it?
Tom
who
Van
was it?
Tom Van Vollenhoven.
He's just leapt over somebody, didn't he? And there's a picture.
That wasn't.
That was
another South African winger. Yeah, it was a Vaughan. I can't remember his full name though. But yeah.
Batten.
I tell you,
his name was Batten.
Okay.
Lost me now, Nobby. I'm getting all excited about that try and you're going on about this.
No, I'm just saying. They took pictures and thousands of pictures of this bloke hurdling somebody. They should do the same there and show them to the kids. That was brilliant.
Before the... I'm dropping a name here, but before the Challenge Cup final, of course, in which Wigan feared, Martin Afire, one of the greatest try scorers of our generations, sent me a text saying Bevan French and Jay Field are worth the entrance fee alone.
Yeah, he's right.
And today they've proven it again, and they do it every week, don't they?
I think that were after they played Salford, if I'm being honest, because they tore us apart. So we'll give them that. But well, that was amazing. Anyway, that was worth the entrance fee alone, wasn't it?
And it was done with Wigan down to 12 men. And Wigan's 12 men. They found the magic to unpick St Helens 13.
And the clock is against St Helens now as well, and the clock's going to give Wigan the energy, isn't it? 8 minutes. Can we hold on for 8 minutes? This team's got resilience. We know that they're tough. Wigan teams are tough. 8 minutes. This is what they've got to hold on for 8 minutes.
Big kick. Harry Smith, left-footed, and that has gone exactly where he wanted it to go, and it means that Wigan lead by 18 points to 12. We've got 8 minutes to go. Nobody is going anywhere.
Well, over to you, Jack Welsby.
Yeah. Let's look at this defensive set from St Helens, because this is a biggie. This is a biggie right here. And Harry Smith, doesn't he like a drop goal? I'm sure he's got a drop goal in his locker, Nobby.
I'm confident he has.
Remember the St Helens Magic game last year, Brian? Do you remember St Helens, what they did in the Magic game last year?
Was that against Catalan?
That was a Catalan.
Oh, the Catalan.
You've forgotten the most memorable game of all time.
Gil Dudson.
St Helens were winning with 3 clear scores with what? 4 minutes to go?
Amazing finish.
Well, hang on a minute. In the grand final the year before, the same year, Welsby did it in the last second.
Yeah, the hooter had gone.
Well, you back Saints, Nobby, as well, so you can't change now.
No, I won't.
And we've got problems with the technicals here, I think, because the what's going on here?
Yeah, it's probably the comms between ref and
I think it might be more than that, actually, because the touch judge and the referee.
DRS has gone down, Dave.
What's going on? Seems to be a little bit of concern down on the bench.
Yeah, it's the comms.
Is that what it is?
Jack Smith's lifting his thing. Batteries are gone again. They're getting wrong. Them cheap batteries again.
Yeah, that it is. Yeah, the engineer. I think there was an engineer waiting nervously on the sideline.
To be honest, though, it does frustrate the hell out of me, this, because it takes momentum of a game away. It did it to us at Warrington at the weekend. We had some comms problem. We get a penalty against us because Touchy and ref's not mic'd up. Yeah, he's I know you. Hey, it's technical.
It's part of the drama, Paul. You know, we've got 8 minutes to go. There's 6 points in, and now the referees have got communication
in the Bestley accent. Don't talk daft, Dave. This is not part of the drama. The drama's there.
Well, he tucks his shirt in. Jack Smith, that isn't it?
Yes, it is.
The touch judge, and he's okay again. Now batteries changed. They can all hear each other. They can all talk to each other. And we've got 8 minutes to go. It is St Helens 12, Wigan 18. It's been terrific. There's been some handling errors along the way, but there's been some fantastic tries, some incredible defence, some outrageous moments, and it ain't finished yet. Ball kicked downfield. Wigan have possession. St Helens defence rushing in there quickly to make sure that the go forward is kept to an absolute minimum. Morgan Smithers comes flying forward for Wigan now, trying to make a dent at least in that Saints defence. He hardly does that. Now Liam Farrell, the old man, if you like, of that Wigan team, though he's still only in his late 20s. Just feels as though he's been around forever and ever, and he's gone down injured again.
It was an ugly one, that,
and he's holding his head.
I think it's more of a twist.
Well,
if he's been hit round the head, his experience is telling him to stay down and wait for the penalty. And it would be very useful for Wigan, I must say. So we're going to have to see a replay. But they're not showing it, so he might be playing in vain. But it looked like a twist to me, although they are looking and checking his his head and his.
I did sense that his legs got taken from underneath him.
Me too.
And then he's gone down and maybe cut the knee of a Saints player.
He's claiming crusher. He's claiming crusher. He's ended up in a bad position, but again, you're right, Nobby. He did twist, and it's so difficult to just. I'm gonna say it's a difficult. I'm not saying a crusher. I don't think there's anything up with it.
No, he's okay. He's okay. He's back on his feet.
Yeah.
Referee says play on. He's had his treatment.
We're making things up here.
Ball played, and here comes Bateman now for Wigan, trying to drive it forward. I know what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but it wasn't an intentional crusher, and it didn't have the full effect anyway, did it? The crusher tackle for the uninitiated, when a defender kind of puts real pressure on a player's shoulders who's down on the ground, and it creates a bend of the spine that's unnatural. Wigan have knocked on. Willie Ice's knocked on. Sam Powell's clapping his hands at his teammates to say we've got a big defensive minute to come here, because St Helens get head and feet at the scrum. They formed at the scrum.
Have they got a scrum play? Great opportunities to create one over. Remember, Wigan a man down.
Clock is stopped. Well, there's still 7 backs though, aren't there?
Yeah.
5 in the pack because of that one man missing. 6 in the pack for St Helens. So here comes the ball out to Lomax. Lomax now runs it away. It's taken on by Welsby. Welsby's trying to get on the outside of Bibby. Bibby's having none of that. Drags him to the ground, puts him down. 15 metres out. Benison picks up again. Inside for Conrad Hurrell. Hurrell now goes skipping towards the centre of that Wigan defensive line. 10 metres out. Lussex pointing, jabbing his finger towards his left-hand side. And that's the way the ball goes. Sometimes it's a bit of a foil, but that was the way he went. And down goes the man, Morgan Knowles. Picked up by Lussex. Lussex going to try and sneak his way over, and he's not far away. Wigan's defenders just about blocking him out. Only just. Welsby this time goes to dummy half, flicks it out to Lomax. Lomax now puts the double pump on again, the pass, and out it goes to Regan Grace. Brilliant from St Helens this time. Wonderful passing movement. They knew what they were doing. They were absolutely word perfect with that. The try goes in, there's a kick to come, they're back within 2 points.
Yeah, well, that's where the numbers were. We said that before, didn't we, that right edge. Still, Willie Ice has got up so high, though, the defending the try line, he's got up 10 metres. His third defender, and I can't quite see who it is, didn't go with the same vigour and intensity he did. And St Helens were so crisp in their execution there, and they found a pass. They've gone round the back of Isa and his winger and found the pass to Saints winger Regan Grace, who's come in. It's technically brilliant what St Helens just did there. Fantastic.
And I reckon they've been waiting till half time to spring that trap, because it's the first opportunity they've had on their left hand side, Wigan's right hand side, especially with the man down. They're thinking, we're quids in here, we'll do it before he gets up to the line.
The Lomax double pump made that as well, didn't it? You know, just the timing of it. Oh, the kick from Benison. It's another shocker. Now that was off the touchline, Paul Rowley. Was that a shocker?
You can't keep calling him a shocker. It's a miss. You can't call it a shocker.
But he missed by a mile.
It's still a miss. There's still no points.
16 St Helens, 18 Wigan.
Well, this ain't over yet.
2 points in it, 5 minutes to go. Let me just tell you, there's a chance of golden point extra time here. If the scores are level after 80 minutes, then they play 10 minutes one way, 10 minutes the other. If anybody scores in that, then that wins the game.
I can't call this.
No.
I cannot call this.
The issue for Saints is getting down the other end of the field and playing in and around the middle.
There's passing. There's passing. Give him the ball often enough, that's not going to be an issue.
And so they do it. 4 defenders now sat on left. Yeah, Saints are getting we're going to get the numbers wrong, because Saints are running that hard, they're causing disruption, and we're going to get in the numbers, not only the numbers but the spacing, and St Helens have got too good a player. We're going to really need to get the bodies in front defensively and slow this ruck down.
3 tackles for St Helens has taken them just beyond the 40-metre mark. They're almost halfway there, halfway through the set. But they're slowing up a little now in terms of yardage made. Still short of the halfway line. 4 tackles gone. Lussex waits at dummy half. Wants the referee to reset the tackle count. He doesn't. Welsby now up to the line. Throws one over the top, and it's behind Hurrell. Bounces to Benison. Benison picks up. Tries to make something of a bad situation by running it back towards the middle. But that's tackle 5. Here comes the last. Knowles back to Welsby. Welsby out to Lomax. Danger here. Lomax trying to get on the outside. It's A pass out to Matortia, so desperate was he to offload. He's lost the ball forward. It's picked up by Jay Field. Field comes running across. He's evaded 3 defenders already as Field. Field's looking for the winger on the outside. Now he tries to dummy his way through. I think he was thinking of scoring something spectacular all by himself, but he's put down 30 metres out on this left-hand side.
Yeah, brilliant. Saints was kicking off the back of shape. They've done that a lot this half, and they decided to run it. I thought there were a forward pass in there, to be fair. Jai Fields fielded a kick at the end of the set, at the end of the play, and he's really skimmed all the way across the line. He could have been tempted to pass and push a pass. I thought it was really disciplined from Jai Field. Big play, churned up 30 metres, but disciplined, didn't pass the ball, didn't throw the ball in touch. Great work from Wigan. They're in attacking territory now. They should have a good end to the set. There's 3 minutes on the clock. This is huge now.
Well, Saints needed a control finish in the corner, so they at least get the ball back in better position they're going to do now.
Harry Smith puts a little chip towards that corner. It's not an attacking kick, it's just saying to St Helens, there you are, you can have it back, but that's where you have to start from. And Benison will catch it only 5 metres out from his own goal line. It's Wigan's turn to put the pressure on St Helens. In defence here, St Helens are going to have to try and blast their way out. Hurrell held up on the 10, pushed back, tries to offload, does offload, taken on again, and Hopewati comes running through, and he's put down, but he's almost up to the 30-metre mark.
One play, Saints need one play.
Here they go towards that left-hand side. Wellesby carrying the ball, then passes away. They're looking to make something happen, but Wigan's defence has stretched across there. Not got through, haven't St Helens at the moment. Lomax to Wellesby. Wellesby passes, high one, read by Bibby, but it's got away quickly. And now here comes Batchelor. Batchelor with the dummy. Terrific.
Unbelievable.
Joe Batchelor, and Lomax will score. But Joe Batchelor has just played a starring role. You will not see a better second row moment than that if you watch the game for the rest of your life. That was sensational from Batchelor.
Unbelievable. Batchelor. Wow, I don't know what else to say. Wellesby's the architect. He's probed the line again, found a pass play. They get down the sideline. You think he's got to pass on the outside, Batchelor, but he doesn't. He comes inside, and boy, oh boy, what a finish. What a finish.
He's a rugby player, isn't he? He's a proper rugby player, he's Batchelor. But they've gone for the right to left shift, just to let you know, as Isu's got up hard again, spooked St Helens, so they took the tackle. This time they've come straight back, because Wigan were in all sorts, because Saints' first 2 carries were strong carries. There were an offload in there from Hopewati, caused disruption. But as you said, Batchelor's just carved them up down this edge here. And Lomax, well, you know, probably he's been one of Saints' best players now for so long.
I mean, Batchelor there, the pass was to his outside man, wasn't it? I think 99 times out of 100, a second row running that channel would have passed to his outside man. Wigan's defence gets across and maybe saves a try.
Well, he threw a dummy. There were 2 covering defenders who thought he was going to pass to the outside. He took the responsibility, said, no, I'll finish this. He didn't know Johnny Lomax was there on the inside, but he soon did, and he knew. Well, did he know? Did he have a look in the corner of his left eye thinking, Johnny on the spot's there, Johnny Lomax?
It's a match winner, surely. St Helens 20, St Helens 20, Wigan 18. There's only 32 seconds left to play. Matty Pete looks on.
I'm going to
maybe a little forlorn.
I'm going to call it, Nobby. I think Saints will win this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Well, Benison's got the conversion attempt here, and this one hardly matters.
It's been a good game. It's been a cup final game. You know, you'd be happy if this were the grand final, wouldn't you? It's been a cup final. Everything about it's been a cup final.
Benison with a conversion attempt. The clock stopped with 32 seconds to go. St Helens lead 20 points to 18. Benison, one look up, steps back, comes forward now, strikes the ball, and he's hit the post. He's hit the post.
No, that's a shocker.
It wasn't a shocker, he hit the post.
That's a shocker.
So,
he missed.
20 points to 18. 23 seconds. The clock restarted, but it's now stopped again.
Short kick off, one play, Wigan if they get it back.
Yeah, and what's going to happen? If they get it back, Saints will just slow them down, give the penalty away, no detriment. There's another discussion.
Well, they're only 2 points behind though.
Here they go. The restart is not going to make the 10. It's not going to make the 10. It's going to be a penalty for St Helens, because the ball bounces short. And look at the celebration. Joe Batchelor leading the celebrations. Well, he's a young man who's got every right to be very pleased with himself today. Penalty for St Helens. The clock counts down. 3, 2, 1. The hooter will sound. That's the hooter. You might just about pick it out amidst the noise of the St Helens fans cheering. Well, St Helens will have to take this penalty. It's like the last game, ends with a penalty. What are they going to do? Just tap it and kick it out of play? No, just tap it. And Iggy Parsy's going to have one last.
Took a tough carry as
well. Big
really.
carry in there, and he's tackled. The referee blows his whistle, and that is that. St Helens 20, Wigan 18. But we have. Our eyes have been delighted today by some of the tries we've seen. Well, sensational.
In this game particularly, we've witnessed some very, very special tries. All three of which, the last second half, that last one as well. So 4 will make the reel of the month, reel of the year, probably try the season. So, and I think Rolls summed it up brilliantly well. This was a cup final in many respects, a cup final atmosphere with a brutal tactician battle in the middle, which exploded into some fantastic football.
Well, you didn't think that the Singleton sending off was going to hurt Wigan in the end when they'd scored that try. But you know what, in the end, I think that was probably just about a contributing or a massive, massive factor in the Saints getting that final try, because they were numbers short, weren't they, at the end of the day. They ran out of it, they ran out of troops, and it was a big, big moment. But you know, the true storyline of this one is the tries, the actual magnitude of how good them tries were. Yeah. You've got to watch them and watch them over and over again, because quite rightly they're in the end of season highlights reel for sure.
Well, all the players out on the pitch are shaking hands, opposition players coming together. They've just smashed each other to smithereens. They've attempted to. They've scored great tries against each other. And then they all come together and hug each other and shake their hands. And the two benches, the coaching staff on both sides, have been in amongst each other as well, shaking hands, congratulating each other. I mean, there's a mutual respect. There's a lasting, not hatred, that's too strong a word, but a real intensity to the rivalry between these two clubs. But that is balanced by an intensity of respect between these two clubs as well.
They don't like each other. Let's not mess about. They don't like each other. They don't like each other one bit. And this means everything to both towns to get a win today or any time they play and whatever game they play at. So, but you're right. There's respect. And I sit here now and I'll let Nobby answer it as well. But what have we learned about these two? If they meet in the grand final, who's got the edge? I'm not sure. I don't think either team learned about the other in terms of psychological edge or advantage going into another big game. I think it's all square, and it's two teams that are very, very evenly matched.
All they will do is reinforce the beliefs they have about each other anyway. So if you let Jaifield have a bit of space or Brebban French have a bit of space, you're in danger. That goes right across the board of this Wigan team. They hang in there. At times they look out and dead and buried, but they're not. They come back and they've got some. You're absolutely right. They're evenly matched teams, and Saints will take, I think, a little bit more from this. The fact that they came back and the game was over. Yeah, Wigan were down to 12 men, but they scored. How on earth did they score with that freak try? And it should have been all over if they managed it well. But Saints showed, look, if we keep playing and we keep believing in our principles and we find a plasma. I thought Welsby was outstanding. I think he probably was the difference between the two teams. We'll wax lyrical about what Batchelor did individually, but Welsby was the one.
Joe Batchelor, for me, will be the standout memory of this game, because the tries he made have been fantastic, and he's now down there with Matt Newsom.
Joe, talk us through that. What a thriller.
Yeah, I think that's what this occasion's all about. I think last year we were on the wrong end of it in the last second, and then this year we've got on the right side of it in the last couple of minutes. It was a real tough game. Wigan were excellent, I thought. Tested us real hard and put us under the pump, really. We had to be right on it right until the last minute to get there.
Even against a team with 12 men, they were still causing you so many problems, weren't they?
Yeah, they're a really good side, mate. They're right up there, and they're going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, and I'm sure they're going to get better as well. So we know what they possess, and we've got to be right on it if we're going to be matching them.
Big games like this need special moments. You delivered some, Jack Welsby delivered some, but it was a team performance as well.
Oh, 100%. I thought in the second half, even though there's a couple of moments where we just slipped off for a minute and they scored a couple of tries, I thought we were quite good at keeping them down there and really investing energy. It took a lot out of us, like I said, but I thought all of us team effort today was brilliant.
And it's a long season, but days like this you remember, don't you?
Yeah, long season, but you've got to enjoy every single win like this, because it's that's part of why we play rugby.
That's wishes, mate. Well played.
There you go, Joe Batchelor. We're getting some more live reaction as well with Matt down on the sidelines, but you know, he's one of those players. Last year you looked at Joe Batchelor and you think he's gone under the headlights. Oh, hang on, I think we've got Liam Marshall down there now with Matt Newsom.
Yeah, we have Liam. Somebody had to come out on the losing side in that one. Unfortunately, it was yourselves, but your team played their part in this game hugely.
Yeah, I think we was a bit scrappy in the first half, the first 20 minutes or so, and then we sort of found our rhythm, and yeah, it was a tough game, set to say. Never expect anything less. I think probably compounding errors didn't help us, and then obviously the Brad Singleton red card's a massive blow to us. I think that's where the game flipped, and yeah, we're still giving ourselves a chance at the end. Bit of a replay of the semi-final. They beat us by 2, so maybe that's just a bit of payback, but obviously very disappointing. They're a champion side, and well, we've come close to them twice this year, and as long as we're competing in them games, we're going the right way. You'd love to be on the right side of the score sheet, but it's not always like that.
I guess you realise that, you know, this is two teams that are going to be in the mix at the end of the season. The more chance you get to play, the more you'll understand what's probably going to be ahead of you at the end of the year.
Yeah, hopefully. Obviously, we're trying to build something. They're the champion side, they're the benchmark, and they have been for a few years, and we just need to keep chasing that. I don't think we was a million miles off today. As much as they're a great side, I think we did some things that didn't help, and that's probably why we sort of didn't get the result. But yeah, we'll learn from that, like you said, and hopefully come back better next week.
Well played, mate. All the best.
There you go, Liam Marshall. I think we're going to grab a word with Jack Welsby as well. All the stars of this game queuing up to chat to us here on 5 Live, and here is Jack Wells. He's just having his photograph taken with him.
Yeah, he's just deserved us for a photo, Dave, but he'll be with us in just a second.
Here we go.
Jack Welsby, what a performance. Player of the match this afternoon. You've helped decide what was a thrilling derby.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a really tough battle, and we knew it was going to be. Obviously, we owed these blokes one after last time in the Challenge Cup semi-final, and it's a sweet way to do it. Obviously, still a long way to go in the season, but it puts us in a good position.
You personally were pretty much everywhere, even the ankle tap that didn't quite work on Bevan French. I mean, how do you get through all that work?
Yeah, I was cramping up towards the end, and it took me about 10 minutes to go and celebrate with Morgs and Johnny when he'd gone over. So no, when you're in the derby, mate, you've got to find things in some places that you don't know what you've got. So obviously we've been away in Catalan, that's taken a lot out of our legs, and only lost by 2 points. So we knew it was going to be another tough task coming all the way up to Newcastle for this great venue and great atmosphere, but what a way to finish, mate. I'm buzzing.
You've already got one massive derby memory in your ranking already with that grand final in 2020, but today that was a some derby. That was a some rugby league game.
Yeah, no, and I think atmospheres like this bring it out here. I think obviously what happened last year against Catalan was just a similar type of thing, and obviously it meant a bit more in the local area of Saints and Wigan, but this atmosphere brings it out here. I think you find things that you didn't know you have, and that's why it's so special and why all the fans are so great coming down.
And it's always more than just 2 points, isn't it, this one?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you ask all the Saints fans at the start of the year which is the most important games, they're going to say Wigan at home, Wigan and away, and Wigan wherever you play them. So yeah, no, it was very special, and get back on the bus now and get ready for another tough task.
Safe journey home, mate.
Brilliant stuff. Jack Welsby down there. Some of the stars of that game. I mean, we talk about these two being the preeminent sides. They are 1 and 2 in the league at the moment. Catalan are not far behind, are they? So, well, I was going to ask you if they're in the mix, but let's hear from Christian Wolf, the St Helens coach, before we put that to you. Matt.
Christian, how's your heart rate?
Oh, look, it was a pretty exciting finish, wasn't it? But yeah, I'm really proud of our blokes. I thought, we've obviously got a couple of younger guys out there, and some really experienced and really good players missing that help in those sorts of games. But to be able to hang in there and win it, then lose it, then come back and win it again, I thought that was outstanding from us.
Yeah, terrific show of character from a team which, you had to patch together in some respect.
A little bit, yeah. Look, we're not missing a heap of blokes, but it's the quality of the blokes that we're missing. And, the reality is they're the 3 best players in their positions in the competition, so they make a big difference. But John Bennison, Jake Wingfield, Dan Norman, they get better every time we throw them out there. They're getting really good experience, and great experience in a game like that, which is outstanding for them going forward.
Just a word on Jack Welsby, player of the match today. He seemed to be everywhere.
Oh, he's a great player. He's still getting better. I thought he was great today. I thought he was really influential last week against Catalans and probably didn't quite nail a couple of things. temperament-wise more than anything else. And showed his real quality there today by nailing those things and making those improvements and still having the same impact on the game. He's a great player.
Congratulations, Christian. Thank you.
So all the reaction down there to what has been a fantastic game. So I'm going to put that question to you quickly now. Brian Noble and Paul Rowley. Wigan, St Helens, Catalan, you've got to put in there as well. They play tomorrow against Warrington in terms of potential grand finalists. Anyone else at this stage? I mean, do we put Huddersfield in there at this stage?
Yeah, I think you've got to. I mean, Rose has got. We'll find out tomorrow. Rose will find out particularly personally tomorrow. But I think, the amount of money that Huddersfield has spent and the quality they've got in depth puts them in the picture for the fall.
Yeah, and statistically, they win quite a lot of the top in stats for quite a lot of things: completion, forced dropouts, territory, and so they're very much a Saints, but without probably just quite the cutting edge. So they're on their own journey, but you're quite right. They've bought quality, and when they've got the quality on the field, then they're up there with the best, and they should be winning, and they should be disappointed if they're not winning, and there's pressure on them to win, and there should be too.
Well, we're going to finish right there. That's two great games to start this Magic weekend. At the bottom end, big win for Toulouse, 38-26 over Wakefield. That really tightens things up at the bottom. And at the top, St Helens now 4 points clear. But my word, what a game here, beating Wigan by 20 points to 18. But we'll finish on the next game, the introduction to the next game, Leeds against Castleford. But more about what's happening ahead of that game. You might have seen it on BBC Breakfast earlier today, but Rob Burrow, living with motor neuron disease, and the Rugby League family has rallied so magnificently in his support. And his two daughters, Macy and Maya, have been the inspiration. They've designed the shirt that Leeds will wear for that game, a Burrow-inspired jersey designed by them and little brother Jackson. They will bring Leeds on the field very, very shortly ahead of that game as well. That'll be an emotional moment. It's proving, Steve, to be a Magic weekend, and that's the title it's been given, and it's living up to all the billing. Magic weekend, two great games. Steve Crossman.